Rare coins turn into real treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the world of numismatics to uncover 29 of the most valuable Washington quarters and Lincoln wheat pennies that have ever been discovered. Some of these coins are worth thousands, others millions. And believe it or not, they might just be hiding in your pocket change, old piggy banks, or a forgotten jar on your grandfather's shelf. So make sure to watch until the very end, because the number one coin on our list will absolutely blow your mind. Let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1776 to 1976 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that many people overlook, yet collectors are going wild for. With its patriotic design, unique historical roots, and staggering market value, this coin is not just change, it's treasure. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and let's explore the untold story behind one of the most misunderstood and valuable coins in American history. Let's start with the basics. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was minted to commemorate one of the most important milestones in American history, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In 1976, the United States Mint released a special series of coins, including the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, to mark the nation's bicentennial. These coins were unique because they bore dual dates, 1776 to 1976, a rare feature in U.S. coinage. But what made the quarter especially iconic was its distinct reverse design. Instead of the traditional eagle, the bicentennial quarter featured a colonial drummer, designed by Jack L. H.R. The drummer, with a torch of victory behind him, symbolized the American fight for freedom and the revolutionary spirit of the country. The obverse, or front of the coin, still featured George Washington's familiar profile, a consistent element since 1932. But this was more than a facelift. It was a celebration of heritage, democracy, and freedom. What makes the 1776 to 1976 quarter so special? Now, here's the twist. Millions of these quarters were minted. So why is the no mint mark version suddenly causing such a stir in the collecting world? Most quarters from 1976 were produced at either the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco mints. The ones from Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. But the Philadelphia Mint, true to its practice at the time, produced quarters with no mint mark at all. While that in itself isn't unusual, what makes this particular no mint mark quarter worth thousands of dollars is a combination of factors: rarity, condition, striking errors, and the increasing demand from numismatists and investors. Only a small number of quarters from Philadelphia were struck with exceptional die quality, leading to what collectors call deep cameo or proof-like finishes. Despite being business strikes, these ultra-rare coins are now highly sought after in pristine condition. And then there are the errors, double strikes, off-center images, planchet issues, all of which add massive premiums to the value of the coin. To understand the significance of this quarter, we need to consider the time it was minted. The 1970s were a period of transition in America. The Vietnam War had just ended, and the country was celebrating its bicentennial with parades, fireworks, and yes, special coins. The bicentennial quarter became a symbol of unity, a way for Americans to carry a piece of history in their pockets. It wasn't just currency, it was a keepsake, a reminder of how far the country had come. Because of that, many people held on to these quarters as souvenirs. But few realized that some of them would go on to become extraordinarily rare, especially those in mint-state condition with no mint mark. Now let's talk dollars. You've probably heard stories of coins fetching ridiculous prices online. So is it true? Can a 1776 to 1976 no mint mark Washington quarter really sell for $1.50, $3.78? Yes. And it has. Recently, a 1776 to 1976 no mint mark quarter graded MS-68 by a top-tier grading company fetched a jaw-dropping $50,378 at auction. The coin was nearly flawless, a brilliant uncirculated specimen with crisp detail, clean surfaces, and exceptional luster. It stood out not just because of its rarity, but because it represented the absolute best of what a bicentennial quarter could be. Collectors were willing to pay big money, and that's exactly what happened. But here's the kicker: there could be more of them out there. That means if you've got a stash of old quarters sitting in a drawer, it might be time to take a second look. That seemingly ordinary coin could be a life-changing find. So how do you know if your 1776 to 1976 quarter is worth big bucks? Here are a few things to look for. No mint mark. Make sure the coin doesn't have a D or S under the date. No mint mark indicates it came from Philadelphia. Condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that are uncirculated or graded MS65 and higher are much more valuable. Errors and varieties. Look for double dies, off-center strikes, and other minting errors. These can multiply the coin's value dramatically. Proof-like or deep cameo appearance. Even though most Philadelphia coins weren't proofs, some ended up with extraordinary finishes. These are especially rare. Get it graded. If you think your coin might be valuable, send it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can add huge premiums to your coin's market price. The 1776 to 1976 no mint mark Washington quarter is more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of history, patriotism, and unexpected value. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most ordinary-looking things can hold extraordinary worth. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just checked their change for fun, remember this: treasures are still out there. And maybe, just maybe, one of them is sitting right in your pocket. So the next time you come across a bicentennial quarter, take a closer look. Because you might just be holding on to a $50,000 fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content just like this. We've got plenty more rare coin stories, historical treasures, and valuable finds coming your way. Drop a comment below if you've ever come across a bicentennial quarter. Who knows, maybe your story is the next big one. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if you're holding a fortune in your hands? What if I told you that one of the most unassuming coins, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark, could be worth over $70,000 today? That's right. This tiny 1-cent coin might just change your financial future. In this video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1939 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. We'll uncover its incredible history, reveal the factors behind its jaw-dropping value, and explain exactly why collectors are paying as much as $70,378 for a single coin. So sit back, grab your coin jar, and let's uncover the secrets of one of the most valuable pennies in American history. To understand the true value of the 1939 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny, we first need to go back in time, back to 1909. That's when the Lincoln Wheat penny was first introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this was the very first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Until then, American coins mostly had symbolic designs, like Lady Liberty or an eagle. But the Lincoln cent marked a major shift in American numismatics, blending art, history, and patriotism in one humble coin. The wheat stalks on the reverse represented prosperity and growth. These coins quickly became part of everyday American life, and remained largely unchanged for decades. But hidden among the millions of pennies minted each year, a few stand out, and one of them is the 1939 no mint mark Wheat penny. The year 1939 was significant in many ways. The world stood at the brink of World War II. In the United States, industries were recovering from the Great Depression. And while the economy slowly gained momentum, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins to keep the country running. In 1939, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 316 million Lincoln Wheat pennies, none of which carried a mint mark. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary year. But among these millions of coins, a select few were struck with such precision, clarity, and care that they now hold a special place in the world of collectors. While millions were made, not all 1939 pennies were created equal. Most went into circulation, suffered years of wear and tear, and eventually lost their fine details. But a handful remained pristine, untouched, uncirculated, and preserved through time. These are the coins commanding astronomical prices at auctions today. What makes the 1939 NO mint mark penny so valuable? So what makes this particular penny worth over $70,000? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Let's break it down. First, rarity and condition. The 1939 no mint mark penny isn't rare in sheer numbers, but finding one in near perfect, mint state condition is exceptionally rare. Coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are extremely hard to find. Fewer than a dozen examples of the 1939 penny have achieved this level of preservation. Next, historical appeal. Coins from the 1930s, especially those minted before America entered World War II, hold strong historical significance. They represent a time of economic hardship, resilience, and transition. Collectors are drawn to these stories, and they're willing to pay a premium for coins that capture that moment in time. Then there's eye appeal and striking quality. Some 1939 pennies exhibit beautiful copper-red luster, sharp design details, and no contact marks, making them virtually flawless. These top-tier examples go head-to-head at high-profile coin auctions, with serious collectors bidding tens of thousands to own a piece of perfection. And finally, market dynamics. Over the past few years, rare coin values have surged due to increasing demand, a growing number of collectors, and the security rare coins offer as alternative investments. In this climate, a coin like the 1939 no mint mark penny becomes more than a piece of metal, it becomes a trophy. You might be wondering, has a 1939 no mint mark penny really sold for over $70,000? Yes. One of the finest known examples, graded at the highest level and featuring nearly flawless surfaces, fetched an astonishing $70,378 at a major auction. This wasn't just a lucky sale. It was the result of competitive bidding among top collectors who recognized the coin's exceptional quality and rarity. For context, a regular circulated 1939 penny might be worth just a few cents. But when you find one in pristine condition, it becomes a treasure. Even lower-grade uncirculated examples can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, proving that condition truly is king in the world of numismatics. How to know if you have a valuable 1939 penny? Now here's the big question. Could you have a valuable 1939 no mint mark penny hiding in your collection? Here's what to look for. No mint mark. Make sure there's no letter under the date. If there's a D or S, it's from a different mint. Sharp detail. Check for crisp, well-defined lines in Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat stalks on the back. Blurry or worn details usually mean lower value. Color. Red-toned pennies are more valuable than brown ones, especially if they still have their original copper luster. And old damage, scratches, spots, and nicks can drastically lower a coin's value. Professional grading. If you think you have a gem, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. That official grade can turn a simple penny into a five-figure payday. The 1939 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is a powerful reminder that history, rarity, and beauty can turn an everyday object into a prized possession. It's not just a coin, it's a survivor of its time. A copper witness to decades of change. And for a lucky few collectors, it's a piece of history worth over $70,000. So the next time you check your pocket change, remember, it pays to look closely. That one little penny could be your ticket to a hidden fortune. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most valuable pennies, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another rare coin story. And who knows? Maybe your coin jar holds the next hidden gem. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and keep discovering the stories behind the coins in your hand. Have you ever checked your spare change and wondered if any of those old pennies lying around might actually be worth something? Well, what if I told you that a simple 1940 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, yes, just 1 cent, could actually be worth up to $56,827 in today's market? That's right. In today's video, we're diving deep into the fascinating history, production, and value of the 1940 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that's transforming pocket change into serious profit for collectors around the world. So grab your magnifying glass and your coin jar, and let's uncover why this unassuming little penny has become a true hidden treasure. Let's rewind to the year 1940. America was still recovering from the Great Depression and on the brink of joining World War II. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was the first regular U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse side of the penny features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse side shows two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination, 1 cent, a design that earned it the nickname Wheat Penny. In 1940, over 586 million Lincoln Wheat pennies were minted in total across all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use a mint mark, produced the vast majority of these pennies. So how does a coin that was minted in the hundreds of millions end up being worth more than $56,000? Let's break it down. First, rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. What really drives up the value of a coin is a mix of condition, historical interest, demand, and unique characteristics like errors or flawless preservation. The 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may not be rare in terms of how many were made, but high-grade examples, especially those in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, are extremely hard to find today. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, used in daily commerce, and exposed to decades of wear and tear. So when collectors find a 1940 penny that looks like it just came off the press, gleaming red luster, sharp details, no scratches or blemishes, that's where the big money comes in. Certified coins graded by PCGS or NGC at mint state 67 red or better are exceptionally scarce. One such coin sold at auction for $56,827, setting a modern-day benchmark for the value of this penny. That's right. A single cent turned into tens of thousands of dollars, all because of its pristine condition. Let's take a closer look at the grading system. Coin grading ranges from PUR, P1, all the way up to mint state, MS70. For collectors, anything graded above MS65 is considered premium quality. The red designation refers to the original red copper color that's preserved on the surface of the coin. Over time, most pennies develop a brown or reddish-brown tone due to oxidation, so finding a full red penny from 1940 is incredibly rare. If you happen to have a 1940 penny in your possession, it might be worth anywhere from a few cents to a few $100. But if it's in spectacular uncirculated condition with that full red shine, you're looking at a coin that could easily fetch thousands. And if it's in near-perfect MS67 red condition, you might be holding on to $50,000 or more. Now, let's talk about the Philadelphia Mint, which produced these no-mint mark coins. Established in 1792, the Philadelphia Mint was the first official mint of the United States. By 1940, it was one of the most productive mints in the world. Since the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark at the time, all 1940 pennies from this facility appear without any letter below the date on the obverse side. These no-mint mark coins are commonly mistaken for being less valuable. But again, it all comes down to condition and demand. In fact, many collectors prefer coins without a mint mark from key historical years like 1940 because they represent standard U.S. currency from the nation's most important minting facility. So, what's the market like today for the 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny? Right now, the top-end price is $56,827, based on recent certified auction sales. Mid-range uncirculated coins can go for $50 to $500, while slightly worn examples still fetch $1 to $10, depending on the level of detail preserved. Collectors are constantly hunting for gem quality, coins with perfect luster, sharp edges, and no signs of toning or wear. These top-tier coins often show up in major auctions or private collections, driving bidding wars and record-breaking prices. The interest in Lincoln Wheat pennies isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, as younger generations enter the hobby, interest in American history and classic coinage continues to grow. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat penny is more than just a piece of copper. It's a symbol of resilience during a pivotal moment in American history. It represents a connection between the past and present, and for collectors, it's a reminder that value can be hidden in plain sight. So next time you're sorting through your change or going through an old coin jar from your grandparents, take a close look at those Lincoln pennies. You just might have a $56,827 treasure waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare penny, or if you're hunting for one right now. Who knows? The next great coin discovery could be yours. Until next time, happy collecting! Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of a seemingly ordinary coin that could be hiding in plain sight, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny. That's right, this tiny 1-cent coin minted over 80 years ago could be worth a small fortune, as much as $43,467 on today's market. Let's rewind to the year 1941. The world was in turmoil as World War II raged across Europe and Asia. The United States hadn't yet entered the war, but change was in the air. Amid the uncertainty, the Denver Mint was busy producing millions of Lincoln Wheat pennies. Little did anyone know that some of these coins would become prized possessions in the numismatic world. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a dignified profile of Lincoln. The reverse design showcases two simple wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and growth, a tribute to American agriculture and strength. In 1941, the Denver Mint struck over 128 million Lincoln Wheat pennies. That sounds like a massive number, and it is. But here's the twist. While most of these pennies are still only worth a few cents, a very small number of high-quality or rare era specimens are worth thousands, and some are valued at over $43,000. So what makes a 1941 penny so valuable? First, condition is everything. A coin that's been preserved in mint state, untouched, uncirculated, and with a sharp strike, can command an impressive premium. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for pristine examples graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Most 1941 pennies you'll come across will fall in the good to very fine range, worth anywhere from a few cents to a few dollars. But in the rare event you find a gem in mint state condition, especially one with strong luster, minimal contact marks, and exceptional eye appeal, you might be sitting on a gold mine. But that's not all. Some 1941 pennies are valuable because of mint errors. These include double dies, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. A dramatic error can turn a simple coin into a numismatic rarity. Some of these flawed but fascinating coins have fetched thousands at auction. Take, for example, a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny that sold at auction for a staggering $43,467. This coin was in superb condition, graded MS67 plus red by PCGS. The red designation means the original coppery red color was fully preserved, a highly desirable trait. With only a handful of coins known to exist in such top-tier condition, it's no wonder collectors battled for it. Now you may be wondering, could I have one of these hidden in my collection, or maybe in a jar of old coins at home? It's entirely possible. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Treasures often hide in plain sight. To determine the value of your 1941 penny, start by checking its condition. Look for sharp details, bright luster, and minimal scratches. Next, confirm the D mint mark, indicating it was minted in Denver. And if you're serious, consider submitting it to a professional grading service for a certified evaluation. Professional grading not only helps verify the authenticity and condition of your coin but also significantly boosts its market value. Serious collectors are far more likely to invest in a coin that comes with expert certification. The 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is more than just a copper coin. It's a tangible piece of American history, a relic from a pivotal moment in time. And for some, it's also a gateway to fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, it's worth taking a closer look at your old pennies. You never know, one of them might just be the key to unlocking a small fortune. So, what are you waiting for? Dig into those coin jars, check your old collections, and don't overlook the pennies, especially the ones from 1941 with that small but powerful D mint mark. It could be your lucky day. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1941 D Lincoln Wheat penny, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a future treasure hunt. Until next time, happy collecting! Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable pennies in American numismatic history, the 1941 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. This tiny copper coin may look ordinary at first glance, but don't be fooled. In the right condition, it can be worth a small fortune. In fact, the current market value for a pristine, uncirculated 1941 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny is an astounding $42,991. That's right, nearly $43,000 for a single cent. In this video, we'll explore the rich history of this coin, why it's so valuable today, what key features to look for, famous errors that make it even more collectible, and how you might be able to find one in your own pocket change. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and get ready to discover the story of a penny that's truly worth a fortune. To truly appreciate the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny, we have to go back to the beginning. The Lincoln Wheat cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, a major departure from the traditional Lady Liberty and symbolic figures that dominated earlier designs. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse shows a right-facing portrait of Lincoln. The reverse side, commonly known as the wheat back, features two stylized wheat stalks curving along the edges with the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America. In between, for over 5 decades, the Lincoln Wheat penny remained one of the most commonly circulated coins in the U.S., lasting until 1958 when the reverse was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial. But among all the years this coin was struck, 1941 stands out as one of the most intriguing, and in rare cases, incredibly valuable. The year 1941 was a turning point in American and world history. The United States was still emerging from the Great Depression, and though the economy was beginning to improve thanks to wartime production demands, tensions were building globally. Later that year, the U.S. would officially enter World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in December. Against this backdrop, the U.S. Mint produced massive quantities of coins to keep up with economic activity. Over 887 million Lincoln Wheat pennies were struck in 1941 from the Philadelphia Mint, and it's those coins that are known as the no mint mark variety. So what makes one of the most common coins from that year potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars? Let's take a closer look. If you're holding a penny dated 1941 and it does not have a mint mark under the date, congratulations, you're holding a Philadelphia Mint coin, unlike the Denver D or San Francisco S mints, which placed their mint marks below the year. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark at the time. So, a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny without any letter under the date is from Philadelphia. Here are the key physical features of the 1941 no mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. Obverse: a detailed bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, inscriptions, "In God We Trust," along the top, "Liberty" on the left, and the year 1941 on the right. Reverse: 2 wheat ears along the edges, with 1 cent, and United States of America. Between them, metal composition, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, diameter, 19.05 mm, weight, 3.11 grams. Though millions were minted, most circulated heavily, losing their luster and detail. But a small number were preserved in exceptional condition, and it's those coins that are commanding sky-high prices today. Let's get into the heart of the matter. How can a penny, a 1-cent coin, be worth $42,991 in today's market? There are 3 main reasons. 1. Condition is king. The biggest factor is condition, or grade, in numismatic terms. A coin that is uncirculated and in mint state, MS-68 or higher, condition is incredibly rare for a 1941 penny. These coins were often heavily used, and the few that were preserved without damage have become extremely valuable. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC with high mint state ratings are worth thousands. At the top grade levels, they become ultra-rare collector items, commanding prices like $42,991 or more at auctions. Point 2. Luster and eye appeal. Another factor is the original red luster. When Lincoln wheat pennies were first minted, they had a brilliant red shine. Over time, this color fades to brown or darker tones due to oxidation. But if a 1941 no-mint mark penny retains its original red color, especially in pristine condition, its value skyrockets. Point 3. Rarity in top grades. While the coin is not rare in general, it is extremely rare in perfect condition. Most surviving examples are in circulated grades. Fewer than a handful exist in mint state 68 with full red luster, and those are the ones that have sold for over $40,000. Like many coins from the early 20th century, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny also has some fascinating errors and varieties that can dramatically boost its value. Here are a few to watch for. 1. Double die averse deal. This error occurs when the coin die strikes the design twice, creating a doubling effect on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. Some 1941 DDOs show visible doubling in the word Liberty and the date 1941. These errors can fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. Point 2. Off-center strikes. If the coin was not properly aligned during minting, it may be off-center. A significant off-center strike on a 1941 penny can make it highly collectible. Point 3. Die cracks and cuts. These minor errors happen when the die used to strike the coin begins to crack or break, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Though not always extremely valuable, they add interest and can raise the price. Point 4. BIE error. This is a popular error unique to Lincoln cents, where a small die break forms between the letters B and E in Liberty, creating what looks like an extra I. The 1941 BIE variety is a well-known error and sought after by collectors. If you find one of these varieties in high grade, its value can soar well beyond the average. Let's talk numbers. Over the past decade, the 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny has set some impressive auction records. Point 1. Of the most famous sales occurred when a mint state 68 red specimen was sold at auction for $42,991, setting the benchmark for this coin's highest value. Other MS-67 and MS-67 Plus examples have routinely fetched between $3,000 and $12,000, depending on luster and eye appeal. Even coins graded MS-66 can sell for hundreds. The market for high-grade Lincoln wheat pennies has exploded in recent years, with more collectors recognizing their historic and aesthetic value. And with fewer and fewer top-condition coins available, the prices continue to rise. So, how can you tell if the 1941 penny in your collection or pocket change is worth serious money? Here are some tips. Look at the condition. Coins with sharp details, no scratches, and no wear are far more valuable. Check for red luster. The more red the coin appears, the higher the grade it's likely to receive. Use a magnifier. Look closely for doubling, BIE errors, or other anomalies. Weigh the coin. It should weigh about 3.11 grams. If significantly more or less, it could be an error coin. Get it graded. If you believe you have a high-quality specimen, consider sending it to PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. Believe it or not, people still find valuable 1941 no-mint mark pennies in everyday places. Here are some spots to look: old coin jars and piggy banks, estate sales and garage sales, bank rolls and penny boxes, grandparents' collections, flea markets, and antique shops. The key is to stay informed and always examine older coins closely. The treasure is out there, and someone's lucky find could be worth $42,991 or more. The 1941 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a piece of metal. It's a window into a turbulent chapter of American history, a work of artistic design, and for the lucky few, a coin worth nearly $43 000. If you're a collector, this is one penny you should absolutely have on your radar. And if you're just starting out in numismatics, the 1941 wheat penny is a great reminder of how even the smallest, most ordinary seeming coins can hold extraordinary value. So keep checking your change, look through your old coin jars, and don't underestimate the power of a single cent. You never know, the next $42,991 penny might be right in your hand. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video on rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of a coin that has captured the attention of numismatists across the globe, the 1942 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it may look like just another penny, but don't be fooled. This humble 1-cent coin could be worth a small fortune. In fact, one specimen recently sold for an astonishing $47,256. That's right, a single penny turning heads and fetching prices higher than most luxury watches. How did a coin like this become so valuable? What makes it so special? And how can you tell if you have one hiding in your change jar or coin collection? Stick around as we break down the fascinating history, unique features, and shocking value of the 1942 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny. To understand the value of this remarkable penny, we need to take a journey back to 1942. The United States was in the thick of World War II. America had just entered the conflict following the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. The entire nation was rallying to support the war effort, and that included conserving materials that could be used for military purposes. Copper, which was critical for ammunition and military equipment, suddenly became a high-demand resource. The U.S. Mint, which typically produced billions of pennies made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, had to consider alternatives. While the famous steel cents wouldn't appear until 1943, 1942 marked a transitional period where the mint was still producing traditional copper coins, but preparing for upcoming changes. Despite the massive production numbers that year, including over 657 million Lincoln cents from the Philadelphia Mint alone, a few of these coins ended up being produced with remarkably high quality. That's where things start to get interesting. The 1942 Lincoln wheat penny features the classic design by Victor David Brenner, which first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. On the obverse, or front, we see the familiar profile of Lincoln facing right, with the words, "In God We Trust." Above, Liberty, to the left, and the date, 1942. To the right. On the reverse side, you'll find two stylized wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto, E pluribus unum, above. This reverse design is what gives the coin its nickname, the Lincoln wheat penny. Now, when we say, no mint mark, we're talking about coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike the Denver or San Francisco mints, the Philadelphia Mint typically did not use a mint mark during this period. That absence is a clue. If your 1942 penny doesn't have a D or S under the date, it's a Philadelphia issue. But remember, not all 1942 no mint mark pennies are valuable. What sets the high dollar coins apart is condition, rarity, and sometimes error features. So, what exactly makes some of these 1942 no-mint Mark Lincoln pennies worth over $47,000? First and foremost, condition is king. Coins graded as MS67 or higher, that's mint state, with minimal marks and virtually perfect surfaces, are extremely rare. These are coins that somehow escaped circulation and survived over 80 years in pristine condition. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for such rare examples. Secondly, die varieties and minting errors can drastically increase a coin's value. Some 1942 cents show doubling in the date or lettering, known as a double die error. Others may have planchet flaws, off-center strikes, or clipped edges. These imperfections, caused during the minting process, can actually enhance a coin's desirability and its price tag, and then there's the matter of eye appeal. Toning, luster, and strike sharpness all influence how attractive a coin looks to collectors. A coin that dazzles visually, even if it's common, can bring in thousands at auction, especially if it's professionally graded and slabbed by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC. Now, let's talk dollars and cents. The 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny is not just a historical artifact, it's also an investment. In recent years, top-condition examples of this coin have soared in value. The most impressive sale to date? A stunning mint state 68 red example sold for an eye-popping $47,256. That's right, nearly $50,000 for a coin originally worth just a penny. Even lower-grade uncirculated examples can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. For instance, MS-65 red specimens typically sell for around $300 to $500. MS-66 examples might bring $1,000 to $1,500, depending on luster and strike. And let's not forget the collector demand. The Lincoln Wheat series is one of the most collected coin series in U.S. history. That demand, combined with the rising interest in rare copper coins, continues to drive up values, especially for high-grade, rare-year issues like the 1942 no-mint mark.so. How can you tell if your 1942 penny is one of the valuable ones? Start by examining the coin's surface. Is it worn or shiny? Does it have its original red copper color, or has it turned brown over time? The redder the coin, the higher the grade, and the higher the value. Next, check for any minting errors like doubling, die cracks, or off-center strikes. A coin magnifier or digital microscope can help you spot these tiny but valuable details. Then, consider sending your coin to a professional grading service. A certified grade gives your coin legitimacy and boosts buyer confidence if you choose to sell. Finally, research recent auction results. Sites like Heritage Auctions or PCGS's price guide can give you a ballpark value for your specific coin and condition. The 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny may be small, but its story is mighty. Born during a time of global conflict and national unity, this penny has grown from a wartime necessity into a collector's gem. Whether it's the historical backdrop, the timeless design, or the jaw-dropping prices it can command today, this coin is proof that sometimes the smallest items carry the greatest value. So, if you've got an old jar of pennies at home, don't overlook them. You never know, you might just be sitting on a piece of history worth tens of thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Drop a comment below and tell us, do you have a 1942 penny in your collection? Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden treasures sitting in your pocket change. If you're into rare coins, valuable pennies, and American history, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to blow your mind. We're diving deep into the story of a coin that could be sitting in your collection right now, unnoticed, yet it's worth a staggering $43,468. Yes, we're talking about the 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. You heard that right. A single 1-cent coin from 1950, with no mint mark, recently sold for over $43,000 at auction. But why is it so valuable? What makes this wheat penny so special? And how can you tell if the one you have is worth a fortune? Stick with me, because we're about to take a deep dive into the fascinating history, unique features, and the shocking current market value of the 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. Let's rewind a bit. To truly understand the importance of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, we need to start with the broader picture, the Lincoln Wheat cent itself. First minted in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat penny was designed by Victor David Brenner to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just any person, but the 16th President of the United States, a symbol of unity and emancipation. For collectors, the Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 until 1958, represents a golden era of American numismatics. And while millions of these coins were struck and circulated, only a select few have risen to legendary status. The 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of them. The 1950 Lincoln penny was struck primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally didn't use a mint mark during that time. That's why you'll often hear this coin referred to as the 1950 no mint mark. Lincoln cent. In total, over 272 million pennies were minted at Philadelphia that year. So, how is it possible that one of these could be worth over $43,000? Well, as with many coins, rarity is not just about mintage numbers. It's about condition, strike quality, errors, and demand. And that's where this particular coin enters the Hall of Fame. Let's break down the 4 key reasons why the 1950 no mint mark wheat penny can command such an astronomical price on the market. 1. Condition. Most of the 1950 pennies that circulated were used and worn down by years of handling. So finding one in pristine, mint state condition, especially at the upper end like MS-67 or MS-68, is extremely rare. The coin that sold for over $43,000. It wasn't just any 1950 penny. It was graded MS-68 red by PCGS, the professional coin grading service. That's an incredibly high grade, and for a coin that's over 70 years old, it's practically flawless. Point 2. Original luster and red coloring. Copper coins tend to darken and tone over time. But collectors highly prize coins that still retain their original red luster. The 1950 penny in question still had its full fiery red shine, untouched by air, moisture, or human hands. That level of preservation is rare. Point 3. High demand among collectors. There is fierce competition among wheat penny collectors who want the best of the best for their registry sets. Coins that are top-graded and one-of-a-kind ignite bidding wars at major auctions. Point 4. Population reports. The PCGS population report shows that only a handful of 1950 no mint mark pennies have ever been graded at MS-68 red. When supply is low and demand is high, prices go through the roof. Now you're probably wondering, could I have one of these? Is it possible that I've got a 1950 wheat penny that's worth thousands? Let's go over exactly what to look for. Step 1. Check the date and mint mark. The coin must be dated 1950, and it should have no mint mark under the date. If there's a small D or S under the date, it was struck in Denver or San Francisco, and it's not the coin we're talking about today. Step 2. Check the condition. Next, look closely at the condition. Is the coin shiny? Does it still have its original red coloring? Are there any nicks, scratches, or signs of wear? If so, it's probably circulated and won't reach the highest values. But it could still be worth more than face value. Step 3. Grading matters. The biggest money comes from coins that have been professionally graded. If you think your coin is in exceptional shape, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Step 4. Errors and varieties. Some 1950 pennies may also have minting errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchets. These kinds of errors can also increase the value significantly. So what's the market like for the 1950 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in 2025? In a recent auction, one of these coins in MS-68 red sold for $43,468. That's not a typo. And the demand continues to grow as collectors compete for the highest graded examples. Even lower grade examples in uncirculated condition, say MS-65 or MS-66, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their color and strike. If you've got a raw 1950 penny in near mint condition, it could be worth sending in for grading. A small investment now could turn into a major return later. Here are a few tips if you want to start collecting or investing in Lincoln wheat pennies. 1. Learn the grading scale. Understanding the difference between MS-64 and MS-68 can make the difference between a $50 coin and a $5,000 coin. Point 2. Buy from reputable sources. Only buy certified coins from trusted dealers, especially if you're aiming to build a high-value collection. Point 3. Store your coins properly. Exposure to air, moisture, and even handling can lower a coin's grade. Use archival quality holders and avoid touching them with your fingers. Point 4. Study auction results. Sites like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers regularly list sales data. Watch how prices fluctuate. You'll gain valuable insight into the market. What makes the 1950 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny so incredible isn't just its value. It's the story behind it. A tiny copper disc, produced in the wake of World War II, circulated through the hands of Americans during a time of growth and change. It may have passed through a child's piggy bank, a soda shop till, or a soldier's pocket. And now, over 70 years later, it's become a sought-after treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's a reminder that sometimes, history isn't locked away in museums. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, right in your coin jar. There you have it. The full story of the 1950 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, a humble 1-cent coin that turned out to be worth over $43,000. If you've got an old jar of pennies, now's the time to go hunting. You never know what treasure might be hiding at the bottom. Be sure to like this video if you learned something new, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more incredible stories coming your way. And remember, always check your change. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage to uncover the story behind one of the most valuable and sought-after pennies in numismatic history, the 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. You might think of a penny as just 1 cent, something you find between your couch cushions or toss into a tip jar. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking wheat penny from 1952, without a mint mark, is currently worth a staggering $41,263? Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, now worth over 40 grand. So what makes this little copper coin so special? Why are collectors willing to pay a small fortune for it? And how can you tell if the penny in your pocket change might just be worth a life-changing amount of money? Stick around, because we're about to explore the value, history, errors, rarity, and market demand behind the 1952 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, a true gem in American coinage. Let's get started. To understand the value of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we first need to look at its origins. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it marked a significant shift in American numismatic design. The obverse of the coin, or the front, displays the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse, until 1958, featured 2 wheat stalks on either side, hence the nickname Wheat Penny. The year 1952 falls within a significant era in American history. Post-World War II prosperity was in full swing, the U.S. economy was booming, and Americans were spending coins like never before. But tucked into all this economic activity was a coin that, despite being produced in the millions, would become a prized collectible. In 1952, the U.S. Mint struck Lincoln cents at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But it's the coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which carried no mint mark, that are of particular interest to collectors today. Let's talk about mintage numbers, one of the major factors in determining a coin's rarity and value. In 1952, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 186 million Lincoln cents. That's a huge number. At first glance, you might think that a coin with such a high mintage would never be worth more than a penny. But here's where things get interesting. While most of those 186 million coins were used in daily transactions, many were lost to time, damaged, worn down, or melted. And only a small fraction have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially in mint state 66 or higher, according to coin grading standards. Even fewer exhibit the specific qualities that drive up collector value: strong strikes, original red luster, and no mint mark. And within that tiny surviving population, there are some truly exceptional examples, which is where our story really heats up. Why is the lack of a mint mark so important? Well, back in 1952, the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark. So, the absence of a mint mark doesn't mean the coin is in error. It simply means it was produced in Philadelphia. However, when collectors refer to the 1952 no-mint mark Wheat Penny, they're usually talking about coins struck in Philadelphia that are in extraordinary condition, or coins with rare varieties, or both. So, while a regular, circulated 1952 penny without a mint mark might only be worth a few cents, those rare, top-tier examples, the cream of the crop, can command massive prices. On the open market, And that brings us to today's jaw-dropping figure. Recently, an incredibly rare and perfectly preserved 1952 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny sold for a stunning $41,263 at auction. What made this coin so valuable? First and foremost, it was graded Mint State 67 red by a leading grading service. This means the coin retained its original reddish copper luster, showed no signs of wear, and had virtually flawless surfaces. Finding a 1952 wheat penny in that kind of condition is extremely rare. We're talking about maybe a few dozen known to exist at that level. Additionally, the coin had strong eye appeal. The strike was sharp and clear, with perfect definition in Lincoln's features, and smooth, glowing fields around the devices. These are the visual elements collectors dream about. Finally, the sale came at a time when interest in high-grade wheat pennies was booming. With demand up and supply limited, it was the perfect storm for a record-breaking sale. Aside from perfect condition, era coins and rare varieties are another reason the 1952 penny can be worth so much. Here are a few to keep an eye out for. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. Some 1952 pennies show signs of doubling in the date, letters, or Lincoln's eye and jawline. These doubling errors can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. 2. Off-center strikes. These occur when the coin is misaligned during striking. If it's off-center by 10% to 50% and still shows the date, it can be worth serious money. 3. BI errors. A die break between the B and E of Liberty creates what looks like the letter I. These are fun and collectible, often worth $10 to $50 or more. 4. Repunched mint marks, RPM. Although these typically appear on Denver minted coins, if you find any evidence of doubling or a shadowy repunching on a no-mint mark coin, it's worth a professional look. These error types can be subtle, but they're what elevate ordinary coins to investment-grade collectibles. Wondering if your 1952 wheat penny is worth thousands? Here's a quick checklist. No mint mark. Indicates it was struck in Philadelphia. Brilliant red luster. The brighter the copper color, the better. Sharp strike. Look for crisp details on Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat stalks. No damage or wear, scratches, nicks, or discoloration bring down value fast. Error indicators. Look for doubling, misalignment, or die breaks. Grading certification. Having your coin graded by PCGS or NGC dramatically increases credibility and resale value. If you suspect you've got something special, get it evaluated by a professional. That tiny cent could turn into a five-figure payday. So, why is the 1952 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny so valuable now? It comes down to a mix of scarcity, condition, and collector demand. As time goes on, fewer and fewer high-quality examples remain. And as younger generations discover coin collecting through YouTube and social media, demand continues to rise. Auction houses are reporting record-breaking sales of classic American coins, especially those from the Lincoln Wheat series. These pennies are nostalgic, historic, and a tangible connection to America's past. Even if you don't have a $41,000 penny in your collection, owning a few wheat cents can be a fun and affordable hobby. And who knows? Maybe you'll stumble across a rare one at a flea market, estate sale, or even in your own coin jar. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1952 no-mint Mark Lincoln Wheat penny and its incredible $41,263 value, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting content. We post regular videos on rare coins, hidden gems in your change, and stories of lucky collectors who hit the jackpot with a simple penny. Drop a comment below and let us know. Have you ever found a valuable coin? Do you have a 1952 penny lying around? We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy collecting, and may your next penny be worth a fortune. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the amazing stories behind everyday money. Today, we're going to explore a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but is worth an incredible amount of money. That coin is the 1955 Lincoln Wheat penny. Now, you might be wondering how a 1-cent coin minted in the 1950s could possibly be worth nearly $38,000 in today's market. The answer lies in a combination of history, rarity, condition, and collector demand. Stick around, because we're about to break down the full story of this penny, from its humble beginnings to the jaw-dropping prices it's commanding at auctions today. Let's start with a bit of background. The Lincoln Wheat penny was introduced in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner. It was the first U.S. coin to feature the image of a real person, President Abraham Lincoln, and it replaced the Indian head cent that had been in circulation since the mid-1800s. The wheat penny design features Lincoln's profile on the obverse, with two stalks of wheat flanking the words, 1 cent, on the reverse. This design was in use from 1909 to 1958. During those years, hundreds of millions of Lincoln wheat pennies were minted. So what makes the 1955 D so special? The 1955 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark under the date. The Denver Mint was known for producing large quantities of coins to meet post-war economic demand. In 1955 alone, the Denver Mint struck over 563 million pennies. But as we're about to find out, not all of these pennies were created equal. At first glance, the 1955 D Lincoln Wheat penny may not appear particularly rare. In fact, because so many were produced, it's quite common in circulated condition. You can even find it in old coin jars or inherited collections. So why is it fetching tens of thousands of dollars on the rare coin market? There are a few key reasons. First and foremost is condition. The most valuable 1955 D pennies are those that have been preserved in pristine, mint-state condition. These coins were never circulated. They were either set aside right after minting or preserved in coin rolls or mint sets. Coins that grade MS-67 or higher are exceedingly rare, especially from this era. These coins have sharp details, full luster, and no significant blemishes. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction survive in this near-perfect state. Another factor is strike quality. Coins that were sharply struck, meaning the dies were new and the design features are crisp and clear, are far more desirable to collectors. And finally, eye appeal plays a huge role. Toning, brightness, and overall aesthetics all contribute to a coin's desirability. A 1955 D Lincoln Wheat penny with rich red color and flawless surfaces can command premium prices. Let's talk more about coin grading, because this is where things really start to get interesting. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-60 and above means the coin is uncirculated. Most 1955 D pennies that you'll find are in circulated condition, meaning they've been handled, spent, or damaged over time. But an MS-67 red, for example, is considered a true gem. The red designation means the coin retains nearly all of its original mint color, the bright coppery red that new pennies have. The Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, are two of the leading third-party grading companies. A coin certified by either of these organizations gives collectors confidence in its authenticity and condition. So when you hear that a 1955 D penny sold for $37,678, you can be sure it was a top-graded example, likely certified as MS-67 red or higher. Let's dive into the real-world numbers. According to auction records, some of the finest examples of the 1955 D Lincoln Wheat penny have sold for staggering amounts. In one notable case, an MS-67 red certified by PCGS fetched $37,678 at auction. And this wasn't a one-off. Other coins of similar grade have sold for between $30,000 and $38,000 in recent years. The key takeaway here is that the market for these high-end coins remains strong. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for top-quality examples to complete their sets. And because so few of these coins exist in perfect condition, the demand far outweighs the supply. Even slightly lower-grade coins can still bring in good money. A 1955 D penny graded MS-66 red might sell for several $1,000s. And even MS-65s are regularly trading hands for hundreds of dollars. It's easy to confuse the 1955 D penny with another famous penny from the same year, the 1955 double die obverse. That coin, which was struck in Philadelphia, features one of the most dramatic doubling errors in U.S. coin history. The date and inscriptions appear doubled, making it highly sought after. But the 1955D from Denver does not have this error. That means you shouldn't expect dramatic doubling on your 1955D penny. Still, that doesn't mean it isn't valuable. As we've seen, the right combination of grade, color, and condition can turn this ordinary-looking penny into a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Another common misconception is that any old penny is worth a fortune. While it's true that some wheat pennies are valuable, most circulated 1955D pennies are worth between 5 and 50 cents. The key is finding that 1 in a million example that's in mint state condition. So, how can you tell if your 1955D penny is valuable? First, look at the coin's color. If it still has that original bright red-orange hue, that's a good sign. Next, examine the surface. Are there scratches, nicks, or wear marks? A clean, smooth surface with full luster increases value. You'll also want to inspect the strike. Are Lincoln's hair details sharp? Are the wheat stalks on the reverse fully defined? A strong strike means better overall quality. If your coin looks promising, it may be worth submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will evaluate and certify it, giving it a grade and encapsulating it for protection. Graded coins hold their value far better than raw, ungraded ones. And if your coin turns out to be MS67 red, you could be sitting on a small fortune. You might be wondering where you can find a 1955D penny like this. The truth is, these coins turn up in the most unexpected places. Estate sales, inherited coin collections, old piggy banks, and even pocket change are all fair game. Many people have no idea what their old coins are worth. That's why it's important to educate yourself and know what to look for. Join online coin forums, attend coin shows, and follow auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. These communities are filled with collectors and experts who can offer guidance and maybe even help you track down your dream coin. The 1955D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a perfect example of how something so small can be so valuable. With a current market value as high as $37,678, this 1-cent coin has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. It's not just about the money. It's about history, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting started, coins like the 1955D are what make this hobby so exciting. So the next time you're going through your change or cleaning out an old drawer, take a closer look. You never know what hidden treasures might be waiting. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the story of the 1955D Lincoln Wheat Penny, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another rare coin spotlight. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep collecting, keep learning, and keep hunting for that next big discovery. Today, we're diving into the mysterious world of rare coins and hidden gems that might just be sitting in your change jar right now. Our spotlight is on one very special coin, the 1956D Lincoln Wheat Penny, a small copper coin with an astonishing story, incredible history, and a jaw-dropping value that can go as high as $34,999 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right. A humble 1-cent piece from 1956, with a small D mint mark under the date, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and in this video, we're going to tell you everything you need to know. We'll explore how to identify this rare coin, what makes it so valuable, how it came to be, and how you can check if you have one in your collection. So grab a magnifying glass, get comfortable, and let's uncover the hidden value of the 1956D Wheat Penny. Let's start at the beginning. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first minted in 1909. Introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It marked the very first time a real person appeared on a circulating American coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent featured the profile of the 16th president on the obverse side, a design that's still used today. But what sets the wheat penny apart is the reverse. Instead of the Lincoln Memorial we're familiar with today, the reverse side featured two stylized stalks of wheat curving along each side. Hence the name, the wheat penny. This design was in circulation from 1909 to 1958, after which it was replaced by the Memorial reverse in 1959. Now, within those nearly 5 decades of production, there were a few specific years and mint marks that produced coins far more valuable than others, and 1956D is one of them. You might be wondering, what does the D mean in 1956D? The letter refers to the mint location, in this case, the Denver Mint. During the 1950s, the U.S. Mint operated multiple facilities, with the main ones being in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia often had no mint mark. Coins minted in Denver carry a small D. Coins from San Francisco have an S. The Denver Mint struck a large number of Lincoln cents in 1956, over 1 billion coins, to be exact. But even though this was a high mintage year, that doesn't mean every coin is common. Hidden among these billions are ultra-rare varieties and errors that can make a 1-cent coin worth more than a brand new car. The value of the 1950-60 Lincoln penny. Let's talk money. How much is the 1950-60 wheat penny really worth? In circulated condition, that is, a penny you find in your pocket change, a 1950-60 might fetch 2 to 5 cents. Not too exciting, right? But if the coin is in mint condition, or has a rare error, the value changes dramatically. For example, a 1950-60 wheat penny graded MS67 Plus read by PCGS, one of the top coin grading agencies, sold at auction for a stunning $34,999. Another example with a similar grade fetched over $24,000. Why such a high price? It comes down to condition, color, rarity, and errors, which we'll explore next. What makes a 1950-60 penny so valuable? There are several factors that make some 1950-60 Lincoln cents worth a fortune. Condition, grade. The Sheldon coin grading scale ranges from 1 to 70. The closer a coin is to 70, the more perfect it is. Coins in MS65 to MS67 Plus, mint state, condition are rare, especially for coins from the 1950s that were meant for everyday use. Only a few have survived in flawless condition. Color Lincoln cents come in 3 color designations: red, RD, original mint luster red brown, RB, some fading brown, BN, mostly toned. The redder the coin, the higher the value. A 1950-60 wheat penny with brilliant red luster can command premium prices. Strike quality well struck examples, with sharp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and the wheat stalks, are rare. Mint errors here's where things get really interesting. Some 1950-60 wheat pennies have errors that make them incredibly valuable. Let's break these down. Chapter 5. Rare errors to watch for in 1950-60 pennies. Some of the most valuable 1950-60 cents contain these errors. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. One of the most desirable errors is a double die, where the coin's design appears to be doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. Look closely at the date, 1956, the word, liberty, the phrase, "In God we trust." If you see doubling in these areas, you might be looking at a rare DDO variety. Point 2. Repunched mint mark, RPM. RPMs occur when the D mint mark is stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Some 1950-60 cents show very clear doubling or overlapping of the D. These varieties are widely collected and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on clarity and condition. Point 3. BIE error. The so-called BIE error refers to a small die break between the letters B and E in the word liberty, making it appear like there's an extra letter I. While more common, BIE errors are fun and can be worth $10 to $100 depending on condition and visibility. Point 4. Die cracks and cuts. These are raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin caused by damaged dies. If the cracks are dramatic and unusual, they can significantly increase a coin's value. Chapter 6. The record-breaking 1950-60 penny sale. Let's take a closer look at the famous penny that sold for $34,999. This particular example was graded by PCGS as MS67 Plus RD, meaning it was in near-perfect condition with full red luster. Only a tiny handful of 1950-60 Lincoln cents have ever achieved this grade, making them incredibly rare. It was auctioned by a major coin house and caused a bidding war among elite collectors. This coin wasn't just pristine, it had flawless surfaces, No visible contact marks, sharp strike, and full original color. This is the kind of coin that collectors dream of. 1 cent that turned into over $34,000. How to check if you have a valuable 1950-60 penny? Here's what you can do right now. Check the date and mint mark. Make sure it says 1950-60 under the date. Examine the condition. Is the coin worn or does it still have its shine? Uncirculated coins will show sharp details and nowhere. Use a magnifier. Look for doubling in the date or letters repunched. Mint marks, die breaks or cracks. Compare with online listings sites like PCGS, NGC, eBay, and heritage auctions often list high-grade examples for comparison. Get it graded if you suspect you have a high-grade or error coin. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can dramatically increase the coin's market value. If you're looking to buy, sell, or trade a rare 1950-60 wheat penny, here are your best options. Heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers for high-end coins. Pay for a wider variety, but do your homework. Coin shows and conventions for expert evaluations. Local coin dealers and collectors groups. Facebook coin collecting groups and forums. Always get a second opinion and avoid unverified sellers when dealing with high-value coins. The 1950-60 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a perfect example of how history, minting quirks, and preservation can combine to turn a simple coin into a treasure. While most of these coins are common, a few rare varieties and high-grade examples can be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. So take the time to look through your old coins, your grandparents' collections, or even your pocket change. You never know when you'll find a piece of American history that's worth a fortune. And remember, it's not just about the money. Coin collecting is about connecting with the past, preserving artifacts, and discovering hidden gems in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1950-60 wheat penny, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video about rare and valuable coins. Drop a comment below if you found any interesting 1950-60 pennies in your collection. We'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting! Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover rare coins, lost treasures, and the hidden wealth hiding in plain sight. If you're holding a jar of old pennies in your attic or basement, you might want to take a closer look, because that one old coin could be worth a small fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one particular coin that has stunned collectors and fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction: the 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin from 1957 that could be worth as much as $36,689. So grab your magnifying glass, get comfortable, and let's explore how this ordinary-looking penny turned into an extraordinary treasure. Let's go back to 1957. Dwight D. Eisenhower was in the White House. Elvis Presley was topping the charts. Gas cost about 24 cents a gallon, and a brand new Ford Fairlane could be yours for under $2,000. It was a different world. But while the world was buzzing with cultural and technological change, the U.S. Mint was doing what it had always done, producing coins for everyday use. One of the most commonly produced coins of that time was the Lincoln Wheat Penny, which had been in circulation since 1909. Designed to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin featured his portrait on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, hence the nickname, Wheat Penny. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny was no exception. It was produced in large numbers. Over 1.3 billion were minted that year across different facilities. But among those billions of pennies, a few rare gems slipped through the cracks. And one of those rare gems, the 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat Penny, has shocked numismatists and coin collectors alike. You might be wondering, what's the big deal about a missing mint mark? And why does it make this penny so valuable? Well, here's the breakdown. In 1957, the U.S. Mint used several facilities to produce coins, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco being the main ones. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint traditionally did not carry a mint mark. So technically, a 1957 penny with no mint mark means it came from the Philadelphia Mint. That part isn't rare in itself. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 282 million wheat pennies in 1957. However, condition, rarity of surviving high-grade examples, and specific die varieties or errors are what set certain coins apart. And that's exactly what happened with some of the 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat pennies. While most ended up worn down from decades of circulation, a handful were preserved in pristine condition, or featured rare production anomalies that pushed their value into the thousands and even tens of thousands of dollars. Let's take a closer look at the coin itself. On the obverse, or front of the coin, we have the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design first appeared in 1909 and became the first American coin to feature a real person's likeness. Just above Lincoln's head is the motto, "In God We Trust." To the left of his portrait is the word, "Liberty," and to the right, the date, 1957. If it has no mint mark beneath the date, you're likely looking at a Philadelphia Mint issue. Now flip the coin over, and you'll see two wheat ears flanking the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. Above that is the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This simple, powerful design made the Lincoln wheat penny an icon of American coinage. It was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design, making the 1957 issues among the last of the wheat penny series. Here's where it gets exciting. Not all 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat pennies were created equal. Some possess rare errors and die variations that dramatically increase their value. Collectors go wild for double die errors, where design elements are duplicated because of a misalignment during the striking process. A 1957 double die obverse penny, where the date or the lettering appears doubled, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and condition. Other variations include repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die cracks, and lamination errors. Even though the Philadelphia Mint didn't use mint marks, certain die varieties from this facility still make certain 1957 no-mint mark coins significantly more valuable. So how does a 1-cent coin end up being worth over $36,000 in one astonishing case? A 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny sold for a whopping $36,689 at auction. The reason? The coin was graded MS67 Plus Red by PCGS, one of the highest possible grades for a coin of that AGE. In the grading world, MS stands for mint state, and a grade of 67 plus means the coin is virtually flawless, with full red color, no visible wear, and incredible eye appeal. The plus red indicates it retained its original coppery brilliance, which fades over time on most circulated pennies. Out of the millions produced in 1957, only a tiny fraction survived in this kind of pristine condition. Even fewer were carefully stored in a way that preserved their luster and detail over 6 decades. That's why collectors were willing to pay a small fortune for it. So, do you have a $36,000 penny hiding in your coin jar? Here's what to look for. Check the date. Make sure it says 1957 with no mint mark below it. Examine the condition. If the coin is shiny, clean, and shows no signs of wear, you could be onto something. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling on the date or lettering. Color counts. Red pennies are far more valuable than brown or dull ones. Get it graded. If you think your coin is in excellent condition, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even if your penny isn't worth tens of thousands, it might still be worth more than face value. Many 1957 wheat pennies in average circulated condition sell for 10 cents to $2 each. But uncirculated versions can sell for $5, $10, or even $100 depending on their grade. If this story has you digging through your change jar, you're not alone. Coin collecting is one of the most rewarding hobbies out there, not just because of the potential value, but because each coin tells a story. Here are a few tips if you want to start, or level up, your coin collecting journey. Invest in a magnifier. Errors are small and easy to miss. Handle coins carefully, oils from your fingers can damage them. Store properly. Use acid-free flips or coin holders to preserve condition. Educate yourself. Join online forums, watch coin shows, or follow channels like this one. Keep hunting. Valuable coins are still out there in circulation: estate sales, flea markets, and antique shops. The next big discovery could be just a coin flip away. The 1957 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny is more than just an old coin. It's a piece of history, a symbol of American craftsmanship, and for some lucky collectors, a major financial win. Whether you're in it for the thrill of the hunt, the history behind the metal, or the chance to uncover life-changing value in everyday change, there's always something new to discover in the world of rare coins. So keep looking, keep learning, and who knows? That penny in your pocket just might be worth $36,689. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video about coins that could make you rich. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're planning to check your own 1957 pennies right now. Until next time, happy collecting! Have you ever heard of a penny that could be worth over $39,000? That's right. A single copper coin, no bigger than your thumbnail, could be hiding in your pocket change or an old jar at home, completely forgotten. Today, we're talking about the 1958 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny. It's not just an ordinary coin. It's a piece of American history, and believe it or not, one rare version of this penny has sold for an astonishing $39,287. So, why is this little penny worth more than a brand new car? Let's dive into the fascinating story behind the 1958 Lincoln Wheat cent, its history, how to identify it, and why collectors are paying a fortune to get their hands on one. Let's go back in time to the year 1958. America was in the midst of a post-war boom. Elvis Presley was topping the charts, NASA was launching early satellites, and the average cost of a home was around $12,000. While all this was happening, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia quietly struck millions of 1-cent coins, simple pennies made of copper. Among them was the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny, the last of its kind to carry the iconic wheat ears design on the reverse side. This coin marked the end of an era. From 1909 to 1958, the reverse of the penny featured two stylized wheat stalks, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. It was a simple yet powerful design, symbolizing America's agricultural roots and prosperity. That's why collectors call these coins wheat pennies. In 1959, to honor the 150th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, replacing the wheat ears forever. That makes the 1958 issue the final chapter of the wheat penny legacy. The 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny was struck only at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark. So when you see a 1958 penny with no mint mark, it doesn't mean it's an error. That's actually how it was supposed to be. Over 252 million of these pennies were produced, making them quite common, at least at first glance. But here's where things get interesting. Most 1958 no-mint mark pennies in circulation today are worth between 2 to 10 cents, just barely above face value. If they're in really great condition, like in uncirculated or mint state, they might fetch $10 to $30, maybe a bit more if they're graded by a professional service. But then there's the rare exception, the unicorn in the world of coin collecting, the 1958 double-die obverse wheat penny. This is the holy grail for Lincoln cent collectors. It's not just rare, it's incredibly rare. In fact, fewer than 5 of these coins are believed to exist today. A double-die obverse error happens during the minting process when the die that strikes the front of the coin is misaligned or improperly engraved, resulting in a doubled image. On the 1958 DDO, you can clearly see doubling on the words, Liberty, and In God We Trust, as if someone hit the stamp twice. The doubling is sharp and dramatic, making it unmistakable to the trained eye. Now, let's talk value. In a legendary auction held by Heritage Auctions, a 1958 double-die obverse penny in near-perfect condition sold for an incredible $39,287. That's not a typo. A single penny, 1 cent in face value, sold for nearly $40,000. And the demand is still strong. Even lower-grade versions of this coin, if authenticated and certified as genuine double dies, can easily sell for $10,000 to $20,000. The key here is authenticity. There are a lot of lookalikes and fakes out there. So if you think you have one, the best thing to do is get it professionally graded and authenticated by a service like PCGS or NGC.so. How can you tell if your 1958 penny is the jackpot version? First, check the date and mint mark. It must be 1958 with no mint mark. Next, look very closely at the front of the coin, especially at the words, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. If the letters appear to be doubled, with clear separation, you might be looking at the rare double die. Another thing to check is the condition. Coins that have been heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged are worth less than those in mint condition. The closer your coin is to looking brand new, the higher its potential value. But even if your 1958 penny isn't a double die, it can still be worth something if it's in superb condition. Coins graded MS65 or higher, that's mint state, can sell for $50 to $100, especially if they have a nice reddish luster and no blemishes. Collectors are always on the hunt for the last year of the wheat penny series. That makes the 1958 penny special regardless of the era. It's a historic transition coin, from the end of one design era to the beginning of another. Let's recap. The 1958 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny was the last wheat penny ever struck. Most are worth just a few cents, but the rare double die version can fetch up to $39,287 at auction. That's what makes this coin so exciting. A simple mistake at the mint created a modern treasure that only a handful of people will ever own. The next time you're digging through your change jar, flipping through an old coin collection, or sorting through a box in the attic, keep your eyes open. That one penny you thought was worthless could be a five-figure find. If you enjoyed learning about this rare and valuable penny, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and share it with anyone you know who might have an old piggy bank lying around. You never know where the next hidden treasure might turn up. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting! Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating, misunderstood, and surprisingly valuable coins in American history, the 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter. That's right, a coin that most people would ignore in their pocket change, a coin you could have passed through a vending machine without a second thought, could actually be worth an astonishing $35,367 today. Now, before you go rushing to check your change jar, take a moment and stick with us, because we're about to explore the full, incredible story behind this seemingly ordinary quarter, from its creation in the post-silver era of American coinage, to the mysterious missing mint marks, the historical context that shaped it, and the rare errors and varieties that make some 1965 quarters incredibly valuable today. So grab your magnifying glass and your coin folders, and let's begin the treasure hunt for the 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter. To understand why the 1965 quarter is so special, we need to go back in time. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. It was never meant to be a permanent design at the time. The original idea was to strike a one-year commemorative coin. But the design by John Flanagan was so popular and practical that the U.S. Mint adopted it as the standard quarter design, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, which gave them intrinsic value beyond their face value. But that all changed in the mid-1960s. When silver prices began to skyrocket, the 1960s were a time of significant change in American coinage. The United States was facing a silver crisis. The price of silver had risen so much that people began hoarding coins just for their metal content. This caused a massive shortage of coins in circulation, especially silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars. To combat this crisis, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, one of the most important pieces of monetary legislation in U.S. history. This act eliminated silver from quarters and dimes entirely. Instead, these coins would now be made from a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. Half dollars were reduced to 40% silver until 1970, but the quarter lost all silver content starting in 1965. This change was historic. It marked the end of silver in everyday pocket change, and the beginning of modern coinage as we know it. And it was in this exact transitional moment that the 1965 Washington quarter was born. So now we arrive at the focus of our story. The 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter. On the surface, this coin might not seem special. It looks like any modern quarter. No silver. No mint mark. Just the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the heraldic eagle on the reverse. But it's what lies beneath the surface that makes this coin so remarkable. First, the absence of a mint mark. From 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint deliberately removed mint marks from all coins. Why? The Mint was concerned that collectors were pulling too many coins out of circulation based on mint marks alone, especially from lower mintage branch mints like Denver or San Francisco. By removing mint marks, they hoped to keep more coins in circulation. So, technically, all 1965 quarters were struck without a mint mark, regardless of whether they were minted in Philadelphia or Denver. But even though number 1965 quarters have mint marks, that doesn't mean they're all created equal. Here's where things get exciting. During the coinage transition of 1965, the U.S. Mint faced a massive logistical challenge. They had to replace silver planchets with clad ones while keeping up with nationwide coin demand. In the process, mistakes happened, and those mistakes are the key to finding a fortune. One of the most sought-after errors is the 1965 silver planchet quarter. Even though 1965 was supposed to be the first year of clad quarters, a few silver planchets from 1964 were mistakenly fed into the presses and struck with the 1965 date. These era coins look and feel different. They're slightly heavier, about 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 grams, and they have that distinctive silver ring when dropped. They can often be identified by the lack of the copper core visible on the coin's edge. These transitional errors are extremely rare, but when found, they can fetch incredible prices at auction. One such 1965 silver quarter sold for over $12,000. But that's not the only variety worth money. There are also double dies struck through errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and other rare minting mistakes. Coins with strong eye appeal, dramatic errors, and high grades from PCGS or NGC are the ones that bring in the big money. And yes, the highest confirmed sale of a 1965 no mint mark quarter reached a stunning $35,367 due to its pristine condition and unique mint error. If you've ever watched coin auctions or scrolled through numismatic forums, you've probably heard the term MS67 or PCGS graded. But what does that mean? Grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition, and it can make a huge difference in value. The Sheldon scale, used by grading companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, ranges from 1 to 70, with MS70 being a perfect mint state coin. Most 1965 quarters you'll find in circulation are heavily worn, with grades in the VF, very fine, to AU, almost uncirculated, range. These are typically worth face value or slightly more. But if you find a coin in MS65 or higher, that's where the real money starts. Especially with a coin from 1965, which was struck in enormous quantities, over 1.8 billion coins, a high-grade example is hard to come by. And a perfect or near-perfect example, with no scratches, full luster, and sharp strike details, could fetch tens of thousands of dollars. The $35,367 sale we mentioned earlier? That was for a high-grade specimen certified by a professional grading service. So if you think you've found a gem, get it graded. It could change your life. You might be wondering, how can I tell if my 1965 quarter is worth anything? Great question. Here's a checklist to help you determine if your coin might be valuable. Weight. A standard clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs around 6.25 grams, you might have a silver planchet error. Edge inspection. Modern clad quarters show a visible copper line around the edge. If your coin doesn't, it may be struck on a silver planchet. Surface and details. Look for signs of doubling on the date, lettering, or details. These could be double die errors. Strike quality. Strong strikes with full detail, particularly in the hair of Washington and the eagle's feathers, can indicate a higher grade. Uncirculated condition. No scratches, dings, or wear? That's a great sign. Your coin might qualify for mint state grading. Professional opinion. If in doubt, consult a local coin dealer or send it to PCGS or NGC for certification. Even one of these signs could mean your quarter is worth far more than 25 cents. Now let's talk numbers. As of 2025, the coin market is booming. Interest in rare U.S. coins, especially transitional errors and high-grade classics, is at an all-time high. The 1965 no-mint mark quarter, once overlooked, is now commanding serious attention from collectors and investors alike. Most circulated examples are worth around face value to $5. In uncirculated condition, they can bring in $10 to $50. But era coins and high grades change the game entirely. Certified MS-66 examples have sold for over $300, MS-67 can fetch $2,000 to $5,000, and MS-68, though extremely rare, can sell for $15,000 to $35,367 or more, depending on the market and any accompanying errors. This coin is no longer just a piece of history, it's a tangible investment. If you're inspired to start hunting for the 1965 quarter, here are a few tips. Search through rolls. Get $10 rolls of quarters from the bank and search through them. You'd be amazed what turns up. Check old coin jars. Ask family members if they have jars of old change. Coins from the 1960s and earlier are often hiding in plain sight. Use a digital scale. A small investment in a coin scale can help you spot rare planchets. Learn grading standards. Understanding coin grading can help you identify high-value pieces. Join coin communities, Reddit, forums, Facebook groups. They're full of knowledgeable collectors who can help. Stay up to date on auctions. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins to ever come out of the United States Mint, the legendary 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter. This seemingly ordinary coin has stunned collectors around the world, not only for its historical significance and rare features but also for its jaw-dropping market value, with some specimens selling for as much as $34,999. That's right, a simple quarter that could have been sitting in your pocket change is now worth a small fortune. But why? What makes this coin so special, and how can you tell if you've got one? In this in-depth video, we're going to explore everything you need to know about the 1967 no-mint mark Washington quarter. We'll start with a journey through the history of the Washington quarter itself, talk about the political and economic context of the 1960s, uncover the specific details about the 1967 version, break down its unique characteristics, reveal how it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, and finally, show you exactly what to look for so you can identify this valuable coin. So sit back, grab your favorite drink, and let's unlock the secrets of the 1967 Washington quarter, a coin that proves everyday change can hold extraordinary value. Let's start with a quick history lesson. The birth of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter made its debut in 1932, in celebration of the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The United States Mint wanted a design that would pay homage to the first President of the United States. Renowned sculptor John Flanagan's portrait of Washington was ultimately chosen, and his profile has graced the obverse side of the coin ever since. For over 3 decades, the Washington quarter was struck using 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it not just monetary value, but also intrinsic metal value. But that all changed during the mid-1960s due to a massive coin shortage that rocked the U.S. economy. The coin shortage and the end of silver in circulation in the early 1960s, the United States experienced a nationwide coin shortage. With silver prices on the rise, the intrinsic value of coins began to exceed their face value. prompting people to hoard them for their metal content. This shortage led to empty cash registers, slow business transactions, and even banks running low on circulating coinage. The U.S. Treasury Department responded with sweeping changes. In 1965, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from the dime and quarter altogether. Starting that year, these coins were struck using a new composition of copper-nickel clad, which included an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between two outer layers of cupronickel. That brings us to 1967, a key year in U.S. coinage history. The unique features of the 1967 Washington quarter. The 1967 Washington quarter was struck as part of a transitional period in American coinage. Due to continued concern over coin hoarding, the Mint made a significant decision in 1965. They would temporarily suspend the use of mint marks on all coins. This policy remained in effect until 1968. That means every quarter minted in 1967, whether it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, would appear without a mint mark. This might seem trivial at first glance, but for coin collectors and numismatists, this created an unusual scenario: multiple facilities striking coins with no distinguishing marks, creating new challenges for tracking provenance, production quality, and rarity. And that's where things start to get interesting, because not all 1967 quarters are created equal. Some quarters from that year have standout features, like rare strike errors, unusual finishes, or incredibly high grades, that make them worth much more than face value. In fact, certain specimens graded by PCGS or NGC have sold for thousands of dollars, and the rarest of them all have crossed the $30,000 threshold. Why the 1967 quarter can be worth $34,999. Let's talk about that number. $34,999. That's an astonishing sum for a 25-cent coin. But in the world of rare coins, condition is everything. Most 1967 quarters were heavily circulated. They passed through hands at gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, and parking meters. They were scratched, dinged, worn down, used as coins are meant to be used. As a result, finding a 1967 quarter in pristine condition is extremely rare, and that's where the real money is. Take, for example, the 1967 Washington quarter graded as MS-68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Coins with this kind of grade are essentially flawless. They show full detail, sharp strike, perfect luster, and no visible marks, even under magnification. Only a handful of 1967 quarters have ever achieved such a high grade. And when one of them came up for auction, it commanded a staggering final price, $34,999. That's more than 139,000 times its face value. This kind of value comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, condition, demand, and certification. What makes high-grade 1967 quarters so rare? So why are high-grade 1967 quarters so hard to find? There are a few key reasons. First, the mint was still transitioning during the mid-1960s from silver to clad coinage. As a result, the quality control on many of these coins was inconsistent. Some strikes were weak. Some planchets were flawed. Others suffered from die fatigue, giving the coins less definition and poor luster. Second, because mint marks were removed, it's much harder to track which facilities struck the best examples. That uncertainty adds to the challenge for collectors seeking high-quality specimens. And finally, because 1967 was still a few years before the coin collecting boom of the 1970s and 1980s, very few people thought to save coins from circulation in mint condition. Most of these coins were spent, not stored, which means fewer surviving examples remain in top grades today. What to look for in your 1967 quarter? Now let's get into the good stuff. How can you tell if your 1967 quarter is valuable? First, examine the coin closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and look for the following features: sharp, clear details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. No mint mark anywhere on the coin, especially near the base of the obverse. Strong, full strike with defined rims and full luster. Minimal to no scratches, nicks, or blemishes. No signs of cleaning or polishing, which can ruin a coin's value. If your quarter appears uncirculated or near perfect, it may be worth having it professionally graded. The two most trusted grading services are PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. A coin graded MS-67 or higher can command thousands of dollars, while a top pop MS-68 can push into five-figure territory. Additionally, keep an eye out for any possible mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or wrong planchet errors, all of which can add significant value to the coin. If you're passionate about coin collecting, rare finds, or just love discovering hidden treasures in your change jar, you're in for a treat today. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1970 Washington quarter. This seemingly ordinary quarter has shocked collectors with its incredible value, with one example selling for a staggering $33,288. That's right, over $33,000 for a 25-cent coin. So how did a regular quarter turn into a collector's goldmine? Why does the 1970 Washington quarter command such a high price? Is there something special you should be looking for in your own collection? And how can you tell if you have one of these rare treasures in your pocket change? Stick around as we uncover everything, from the history behind this coin, the specifics of what makes it so rare, to how the coin market values it today. This is your ultimate guide to the 1970 Washington quarter, a small coin with a massive story. Let's get started. Before we zero in on the 1970 quarter, let's take a quick look at the broader history of the Washington quarter series. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, this quarter replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became a staple of U.S. coinage. The obverse features a bust of George Washington, while the reverse initially featured a bald eagle with spread wings. From 1932 to 1964, Washington quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. In 1965, due to rising silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage, the U.S. Mint switched the composition of the quarter to a copper-nickel-clad version, which is what we use today. The coin's design remained relatively unchanged for decades. It wasn't until the state quarters program launched in 1999 that we started seeing a rotation of reverse designs. But through the 1970s, the standard eagle reverse remained. That brings us to the year 1970, a seemingly average year for the quarter series. Or was it? The 1970 Washington quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Denver struck over 417 million Washington quarters in 1970. A pretty high mintage, right? That's why, at first glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary about this coin. Millions were made, and many are still in circulation today. You could even argue that it's one of the more common coins from that decade. But as with many fascinating numismatic stories, the devil is in the details. Among those hundreds of millions of coins struck in Denver, a tiny handful were created under mysterious and intriguing circumstances. These rare specimens, the kind that have made headlines and stirred the coin collecting community, include a unique error that gives the coin its incredible value. What makes the 1970 quarter worth $33,288? Let's talk about what makes this coin worth over $33,000. The particular 1970 Washington quarter that sold for this astonishing amount was not your average quarter. It was actually struck on a silver 1941 Canadian quarter, a coin that predates it by nearly 3 decades and comes from another country. This incredible mint error resulted in a U.S. quarter being overstruck on a coin from Canada, creating a dual-image coin with the 1970 Washington quarter design on top and parts of the 1941 Canadian quarter still visible underneath. In the world of numismatics, that's a massive deal. Imagine seeing the faint image of King George VI from the Canadian coin showing through the U.S. design. It's a collector's dream and a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Because it was struck on a silver Canadian coin, the weight, luster, and overall feel of the coin were different from a standard U.S. quarter from that year. But it was this bizarre combination, An American coin struck over a Canadian silver coin. That caused it to soar in value at auction. This coin was sold by Heritage Auctions, a reputable name in the numismatic world, for exactly $33,288. This was not a casual collector's sale. This was the kind of transaction that makes the whole coin world stop and pay attention. Let's take a moment to talk about mint errors, because they're the reason this coin became so valuable in the first place. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong in the coin manufacturing process at the U.S. Mint. These mistakes can include double strikes, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, die clashes, and overstrikes like the one seen in the 1970 D quarter. Most errors are caught and destroyed before the coins leave the mint, but sometimes a few escape into circulation. When they do, and especially when they're as rare and dramatic as the 1970 D overstruck on a foreign coin, they can become extremely valuable. There's a whole subset of collectors who specialize in mint errors. And depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error, values can range from a few $100s to tens of thousands. Or more. That's exactly what happened here. Now here's the part you've all been waiting for. How can you tell if you have a valuable 1970 D quarter? First, look for the D mint mark on the obverse side of the coin. Next, examine the coin closely for any signs that it's different. Is the metal shinier than usual? Is it heavier? Does it show any faint outlines of another coin? Is anything about the design off-center, overlapping, or ghosted? A true 1970 D quarter struck on a Canadian silver coin will likely look and feel different. It will have ghost images of King George VI and possibly the date 1941 still visible. If you even suspect that your coin might be a mint error, the best course of action is to get it authenticated by a reputable grading service, like PCGS or NGC. These companies specialize in identifying, grading, and certifying coins, and their expertise can confirm whether you're holding a 25-cent piece or a $33,000 treasure. So let's talk about today's market. As of now, the record sale for this error coin stands at $33,288. That's the gold standard for what this coin has achieved. However, other examples, if found and authenticated, could easily fetch a similar price, or even more depending on the market, rarity, and condition. The demand for rare error coins has never been higher. Thanks to the internet, coin collectors, dealers, and investors can find and bid on these coins more easily than ever before. Platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Stax Bowers have made it possible for even amateur collectors to find real treasures. But here's the catch: the 1970 D overstrike is extremely rare. Only a handful are known to exist. So if you happen to find one, you're not just lucky, you're sitting on a once-in-a-generation discovery. While the 1970 D overstrike is the most famous, there are other 1970 D quarters that have fetched high prices due to errors or exceptional condition. For instance, coins with deep cameo finishes, pristine surfaces, or extremely high grades, especially those graded MS-68 or higher, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Also, coins with off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or double dies can have significant value depending on severity and rarity. This means that even if you don't have the legendary $33,288 quarter, you could still be sitting on a valuable piece of coin history. So why are collectors so obsessed with coins like the 1970 D Washington quarter? For one, the mystery. The fact that such a wild error made it out of the mint and into the hands of a collector is part of the thrill. Second, the history. This coin bridges two countries, the US and Canada, and two different eras in coinage history. That makes it not just a collector's item, but a piece of historical intrigue. And finally, the value. Coins like this prove that incredible treasures can still be found in everyday places, in pocket change, old coin jars, inherited collections, and estate sales. It's the thrill of the hunt that keeps collectors coming back. If this video has sparked your interest in coin collecting, here are a few tips to help you get started or sharpen your skills. Always check your change, especially older coins or ones that look unusual. Learn the mint marks and designs for different years. Invest in a magnifying glass or loupe to inspect details. Consider joining a coin club or online community. Places like Reddit's r/coins or forums like CoinTalk can be great resources. Keep your coins safe. Store them in protective holders, folders, or albums. Use reputable grading services if you suspect you have something valuable. Study auction sites like Heritage Auctions to see what kinds of coins are selling and for how much. There you have it. The amazing story of the 1970 Washington quarter that sold for $33,288. What started as a simple 25-cent coin ended up being a numismatic legend, thanks to a rare mint error and a little bit of luck. Do you have any 1970 quarters in your collection? If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into rare and valuable coins that might be hiding right in your pocket change. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that's been turning heads in the numismatic world, the 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark. Yes, that's right. The humble 1974 quarter, a coin you've probably spent hundreds of times without a second thought, could actually be worth thousands of dollars. One of these coins recently sold for a staggering $28,388, and today, we're going to tell you exactly why. We'll explore the fascinating history of the Washington quarter, what makes the 1974 no mint mark variety special, how to spot one, what condition it needs to be in to fetch top dollar, and how much collectors are paying for them right now. So sit tight and let's dig into the story of the 1974 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that proves treasure can be hiding in plain sight. The origins of the Washington quarter. Let's start by setting the stage. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was first introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Originally intended to be a one-year commemorative coin, it proved so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became a permanent fixture in U.S. coinage. The original design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it's the same design you see on the obverse, or front, of the coin today. The reverse side has changed a few times, but in 1974, it still featured the familiar eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of strength and readiness, with olive branches below, symbolizing peace. These coins were primarily struck at three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver bear a D mint mark, those from San Francisco have an S, and Philadelphia quarters usually carry no mint mark, which brings us to our topic today. An O mint mark doesn't always mean rare, but sometimes it does. You might be wondering, what's so special about a coin with no mint mark? After all, most Philadelphia coins didn't have a mint mark until 1980, so a 1974 quarter without a mint mark might not seem that rare, and you'd be right, under normal circumstances. But there's a big difference between a regular, circulated 1974 quarter and one that has certain characteristics that make it valuable to collectors. We'll get into what exactly those characteristics are in a bit. But first, let's talk about what makes any coin valuable in the first place. What makes a coin valuable? Before we can understand why one 1974 no mint mark quarter sold for over $28,000, we have to understand what drives coin value. It's usually a combination of several factors: rarity, how many of that specific coin exist; demand, how many people want it; condition, is it uncirculated; is it in mint state condition; errors or varieties, is there something unusual about the coin. Sometimes, coins become valuable simply because they were made with a manufacturing mistake, a die crack, a misprint, a wrong planchet, or a double strike. Other times, the rarity is the result of very low mintage numbers or the coin being in exceptionally good condition for its age. In the case of the 1974 no mint mark Washington quarter, it's all about condition and the possibility of unique minting anomalies. Let's talk about the 1974 no mint mark quarter. The 1974 quarter was minted in large numbers. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 801 million quarters that year, and none of them carried a mint mark. So technically, a no mint mark 1974 quarter isn't rare in itself, but the one that sold for $28,388, that one was different. It was graded MS-67 by a reputable grading service. And that grade made all the difference. So what does MS-67 mean? Understanding coin grading. Why MS-67 is a big deal. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale called the Sheldon scale. Here's a brief breakdown. MS-60 to MS-70, mint state, coins that have never been in circulation. MS-70, a perfect coin, flawless under 5x magnification. MS-67, almost perfect, with only tiny imperfections visible under magnification. An MS-67 coin is extremely rare, especially for a coin that was mass-produced like the 1974 quarter. Most of these coins were circulated heavily, used for parking meters, vending machines, laundry, you name it. They're full of scratches, wear, and tear, but a 1974 quarter that survived in pristine mint condition for over 50 years. That's incredibly rare. And rarity drives value. How a common quarter becomes worth over $28,000. The quarter in question that sold for $28,388 was graded by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, one of the most trusted third-party grading companies in the world. This particular coin was not only in mint state condition but was in one of the highest grades known for the date. There are very few MS-67 examples of this coin, and none higher have been found to date. This made it a top population coin, the best of the best. And coin collectors love top pop coins. These are the kinds of coins they're willing to pay thousands, even tens of thousands, to own. Think of it like owning a mint condition baseball card or an unopened, original edition comic book. Condition is everything. How to spot a valuable 1974 quarter. If you're now racing to your coin jar to see if you have a 1974 quarter, here's what to look for. No mint mark. If it doesn't have a D or S under the date, it was minted in Philadelphia. Sharp detail. Look closely at the hairlines, the eagle's feathers, and the lettering. Is everything crisp and bold? Nowhere. If there's visible wear on Washington's cheek, jawline, or the high points of the design, it's likely circulated and not mint state. Unusual errors. Look for double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or anything else unusual. If your coin checks all these boxes, especially if it looks brand new, you might have something special. The role of third-party grading here is the important part. Even if your 1974 quarter looks perfect to you, it has to be authenticated and graded by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to be taken seriously by serious collectors. Sending a coin in for grading costs money, usually around $30 to $50 per coin, depending on the service level and the company. But if your coin comes back with a grade like MS-66 or MS-67, it could be worth thousands more than the cost of grading. Graded coins are also encapsulated in tamper-proof holders, making them easier to sell, trade, or auction. Current market value of the 1974 no mint mark Washington quarter. Now, let's talk real numbers. Here's a general breakdown of what the 1974 no mint mark quarter might be worth today, depending on its condition. Circulated condition: 25 cents to $1.50 mint state MS-60 to MS-63, $3 to $1.15 mint state MS-64 to MS-65, $20 to $100 mint state MS-66, $150 to $400 mint state MS-67, $6,000 to $28,388 or more, depending on demand. The top-end sale of $28,388 was achieved through a reputable auction, where multiple collectors were competing for the highest graded example. If a new highest grade were to be discovered, say, an MS-68, it could sell for even more. Why this coin matters for collectors: the 1974 no mint mark Washington quarter is a great example of how even the most ordinary-looking coin can have extraordinary value under the right circumstances. It shows that coin collecting is as much about the thrill of the hunt as it is about history, economics, and rarity. It also teaches us the importance of condition, and how proper storage and handling can preserve value for decades. If you collect coins, or even if you just occasionally check your pocket change, you never know when you might find a gem. Final thoughts. Could you be holding a fortune? Could that worn old quarter in your drawer be worth $28,388? Maybe not, but it might be worth a second look. Go check your change. See if you have a 1974 quarter with no mint mark. Inspect it carefully. If it looks unusually sharp and free of wear, it might be worth sending in for grading. Remember, most people wouldn't think twice about a 1974 quarter, but collectors know better. That's the beauty of numismatics. What seems ordinary can become extraordinary with the right knowledge and a little bit of luck. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below letting us know what rare coins you've found, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth coin videos just like this one. Until next time. Hello and welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video that could potentially put thousands of dollars in your pocket. Today, we're uncovering the story behind a coin you've probably held in your hands dozens of times, a Washington quarter. But not just any quarter. This is the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar coin. And believe it or not, one of these recently sold for a jaw-dropping $29,378. That's right, $29,000 for a single 25-cent coin. Let's get into how and why this happened. Now, to understand why this coin is worth so much money today, we need to start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was designed by John Flanagan, whose work features a left-facing portrait of the first U.S. president on the obverse, or front, of the coin. The reverse at the time showed an eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness for war, surrounded by olive branches for peace. This iconic design would go on to last until 1998 before the 50-state quarters program began in 1999. The quarter we're focusing on today, the 1981 D Washington quarter, was minted in Denver, Colorado, as indicated by the D Mint mark on the coin. In that year alone, the Denver Mint produced over 575 million of these quarters, making it a very common coin by mintage standards. So the natural question is this: why is a coin that was mass-produced now worth nearly $30,000? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, errors, and collector demand. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about rarity. While over 500 million 1981 D quarters were minted, the overwhelming majority of these coins entered circulation. That means they were used in everyday transactions, passed through hands, pockets, and cash registers, acquiring scratches, wear, and damage along the way. Coins in average circulated condition are usually worth only face value, just 25 cents. However, a tiny fraction of these coins were preserved in pristine condition. These are what collectors call mint state coins, coins that show no signs of wear, with full luster and sharp details. The highest quality grades, like MS-67, MS-68, and even MS-69, are extremely rare. In fact, the 1981 D quarter that sold for $29,378 was graded MS-68 by a top coin grading service. Only a handful of examples in this high of a grade are known to exist, which skyrockets their value. Next, let's talk about coin grading. Coin grading is a key part of the numismatic world. Coins are evaluated on a scale from 1 to 70, known as the Sheldon scale. A coin graded MS-60 to MS-70 is considered mint state, with MS-70 being a perfect coin with no imperfections even under magnification. Most coins you find in change are somewhere between good and very fine, nowhere near the top of the scale. Finding a 1981 D quarter in MS-68 condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. The odds are incredibly slim. It means the coin was almost certainly never circulated, and it must have been stored in ideal conditions for over 40 years. But here's where things get even more interesting. Some of these rare quarters also feature minting errors, and that's another factor that can drive the value way up. Errors like off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or die breaks can significantly increase a coin's desirability. In some cases, even a minor error can add hundreds or thousands of dollars to a coin's value, especially when paired with a high mint state grade. The 1981 D quarter that sold for nearly $30,000 was not only in MS-68 condition but also featured incredibly strong strike characteristics, sharp details, and full luster. It was graded and certified by Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, which added to its credibility and value in the marketplace. Let's move on to current market value. As of now, the highest auction record for a 1981 D Washington quarter is $29,378, sold at a prestigious numismatic auction. This wasn't just a fluke. In the coin collecting world, top-grade coins regularly fetch massive premiums because serious collectors are always looking to complete the best possible sets. It's worth noting that while this is the top price, other 1981 D quarters in mint state grades can still sell for hundreds, or even thousands of dollars. An MS-67 might go for around $500 to $1,200, depending on market demand and eye appeal. Even an MS-66 could fetch over $100. That's a significant return on a coin that originally cost just 25 cents. So, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable quarters? Here's what to look for. Check the date. Make sure it says 1981. Look for the mint mark, a small D, just to the right of Washington's ponytail, indicating it was minted in Denver. Examine the condition. If it's heavily worn, it's likely worth only face value. But if it looks brand new, shiny, with no scratches or wear, you might be holding something special. Consider getting it graded. If you believe the coin is in mint state condition, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade can multiply its value exponentially. And here's a quick tip. Always handle coins by the edges. Avoid touching the face or reverse directly. Oils and dirt from your fingers can damage the surface and reduce the grade. Before we wrap up, let's answer the big question. Why do collectors pay so much for these coins? The simple answer is this: rarity plus demand equals value. In the world of coin collecting, completing a high-grade registry set of Washington quarters from 1932 to present is a major goal for many collectors. And because the 1981 D is so hard to find in MS-68 or higher, it becomes a key coin. Without it, a collection can't be truly complete at that grade level. It's a perfect example of how a common coin becomes incredibly valuable due to its condition, scarcity in high grades, and competitive demand among collectors. So, the next time you're going through your pocket change, don't overlook the humble Washington quarter. That one coin could be hiding in plain sight, worth not 25 cents, but thousands of dollars. That's it for today's video. If you found this information helpful or interesting, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave a comment down below if you've ever found a rare or valuable coin. And as always, subscribe for more content just like this, because we've got plenty more coin secrets coming your way. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting! If you're a coin collector, treasure hunter, or just someone who loves learning about rare and valuable coins, you're in for a real treat today. We're diving deep into the story of the 1989 D Washington quarter, a coin that might be sitting in your pocket right now, and could be worth a jaw-dropping $31,266. Yes, you heard that right, over $31,000 for a single quarter. And no, it's not made of gold, and it's not ancient. It's just an ordinary-looking coin from 1989 with a Denver mint mark. So, what makes it so special? That's what we're going to explore today. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's take a journey into coin history, value, and the fascinating world of the 1989 D Washington quarter. First, a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to honor George Washington's 200th birthday and has been in circulation ever since. While many quarters are common and spend their lives being tossed into vending machines and parking meters, some are true gems, and the 1989 D is one of those. In 1989, the United States Mint struck millions of quarters, over 896 million, to be exact, at the Denver Mint, which is what the D Mint mark stands for. Most of these quarters were perfectly ordinary. They were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, weighed about 5.67 grams, and had a diameter of 24.3 mm. So if there were nearly 900 million of these coins made, what could possibly make one worth over $30,000? Well, that's where condition, rarity, and errors come into play. Let's start with condition. The most valuable coins in the world are often in pristine condition, known as mint state, or MS. These are coins that never entered circulation and remain untouched by human hands, scratches, or wear. The 1989 D quarter that sold for over $31,000 was graded MS68 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS. MS68 is an extremely rare grade for any coin, especially one that was mass-produced. Out of the hundreds of millions of 1989 D quarters, only a tiny handful have been found in such perfect condition. Think about it. How many quarters have you seen that have absolutely no nicks, scratches, or dullness? Exactly, not many. But condition alone isn't the whole story. There's also the element of demand. Collectors are always looking to complete high-grade sets, and finding a 1989 D quarter in nearly perfect condition is like striking gold. This demand drives the price up significantly. And when one of these coins goes to auction, especially with a top-tier grading, bidding wars can erupt, pushing prices to unbelievable levels. Now, let's talk about errors and varieties, another reason why a coin like this can skyrocket in value. While the specific $31,266 coin was prized mostly for its condition, there are also known errors from the 1989 D series that are worth keeping an eye out for. These include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. These minting errors happen when something goes wrong in the production process, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. One of the most sought-after errors is a double die, where the design appears to be slightly doubled, especially on the lettering or date. While no major double die errors have been officially certified on the 1989 D quarter, collectors are always on the hunt. Even minor errors can fetch hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. Now let's come back to the highlight. The record-breaking sale. In a major coin auction, a pristine 1989 D Washington quarter, graded MS68 by PCGS, was sold for an astonishing $31,266. This sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. No one expected a modern quarter to reach that level, but it did. And it opened the eyes of collectors and non-collectors alike. It's a reminder that there is real money to be made in coin collecting, not just in ancient gold pieces or silver dollars, but even in modern, everyday coins you might have in your change jar right now. So now the big question: do you have a 1989 D Washington quarter? If you do, it's time to check it closely. Here's what to look for. First, flip the coin and look for the D mint mark. It'll be on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail, above the date. Second, check the condition. Is the coin shiny, crisp, and scratch-free? Does it look like it just came from the mint? If so, you might have a mint state coin. Third, consider sending it in for grading. The major grading services like PCGS or NGC can professionally assess the coin's condition. If you believe your coin is near perfect, it's worth the investment to get it graded. That's the only way it can reach the top dollar value collectors are willing to pay. And even if your coin isn't worth tens of thousands, you might still find a valuable piece worth a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. That's not bad for a 25-cent coin. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk briefly about the current market. The market for high-grade coins, especially modern rarities like this one, has been on the rise. With the popularity of coin collecting booming thanks to YouTube, TikTok, and social media, more people than ever are learning about the hidden value in pocket change. This increased awareness means more competition and higher prices. As of now, the 1989 D Washington quarter in MS68 remains extremely rare, with only a few certified by major grading companies. That scarcity, combined with strong collector interest, means the price is holding strong. The last known sale was at $31,266, and there's no sign that demand is slowing down. So what does this mean for you? It means check your change. Look through your old coin jars, rolls of quarters, and even that old shoebox in the attic. Because hidden among the ordinary coins could be something extraordinary. A 1989 D quarter that could change your day, your week, or even your year. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content on rare coins, valuable finds, and how to spot treasure in your everyday change. Let me know in the comments, have you ever found a rare coin? Or maybe you're going to go check your coins right now. Either way, I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, happy collecting and good luck out there. Today we're diving deep into a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now, a 1990 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. You might think it's just another regular quarter worth 25 cents, but one of these coins has recently sold for a jaw-dropping $28,388. Yeah, you heard that right. Over $28,000 for a coin that people used every day just a few decades ago. So what makes this 1990 D Washington quarter so special? Why is it worth thousands when most of them are still only worth a quarter? And how can you tell if the one in your collection, or even in your pocket, is one of the valuable ones? Stick around, because we're covering all of that and more. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design features the bust of Washington on the obverse, or the front, of the coin. It became so popular that it was adopted as the regular issue quarter and has been in circulation ever since. Now fast forward to 1990. That year, quarters were minted at several locations, but the Denver Mint was one of the primary facilities, which means it bears a small D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse of the coin. In most cases, the 1990 D Washington quarter is extremely common. Hundreds of millions were struck that year. Specifically, over 927 million quarters came out of the Denver Mint in 1990. So by all accounts, this coin shouldn't be rare at all. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the high mintage, a tiny handful of these coins were struck with an extraordinary level of quality. We're talking about what's known in the coin collecting world as mint state 67 or higher. That means the coin was preserved in near perfect condition from the moment it left the mint. No scratches. No wear. Just perfect, clean surfaces and sharp detail. And this is where value comes into play. While a regular circulated 1990 D quarter is worth just 25 cents, and maybe $1 or $2 in uncirculated condition, it's the incredibly rare, high-grade examples that command huge premiums at auction. In fact, in one of the most stunning sales in recent years, a 1990 D Washington quarter graded MS67 Plus by PCGS, one of the most trusted coin grading services, sold for a mind-blowing $28,388. That's right. 1 quarter. 25 cents face value. Sold for nearly 30 grand. So what exactly made that coin worth so much? Let's break it down. First, grade is everything in numismatics. The grading scale runs from 1 to 70, and the closer you get to 70, the higher the coin's value skyrockets, especially for coins that are usually seen in poor or average condition. A 1990 D quarter in MS60 might bring a few bucks. But in MS67 or higher, it becomes a rarity, even among millions. Second, eye appeal matters. This includes things like the coin's luster, its strike quality, and whether it has any distracting marks. The $28,388 quarter didn't just look good, it looked spectacular. Collectors are always willing to pay a premium for a coin that stands out from the crowd. Third, population matters. If only a few coins exist at a certain grade, that drives up demand. According to PCGS population reports, only a handful of 1990 D quarters have ever been graded MS67+, and none have reached the perfect MS70. That means competition is fierce among collectors who want to own the finest known example. And finally, timing plays a role. Coin markets can fluctuate, and sometimes a bidding war breaks out between collectors who just have to have that one coin. That's likely what happened with this particular 1990 D quarter. Now, here's the million-dollar question, or rather, the $28,000 question. How can you tell if you have one of these valuable quarters? First, pull out any 1,990 quarters you have and look for the D mint mark. If it's there, congrats, you've passed step 1. Next, check the coin's condition. If it looks worn, scratched, or discolored, it's probably not a high-grade example. But if it looks brand new, with shiny surfaces and no wear, even under a magnifying glass, then it might be worth a closer look. Your next step is to have it graded. Companies like PCGS or NGC offer professional grading services. Yes, it costs money, but if your coin turns out to be MS67 or better, it could be worth thousands, easily making up for the cost of grading. Of course, not every coin you find will be a jackpot. Most 1990D quarters are still just worth face value. But here's the thing, you never know. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. The next great discovery might be hiding in your spare change, in an old jar, or in a coin album that's been sitting on a shelf for years. And if you're serious about looking for valuable coins, here's a tip: look through mint sets. Mint sets from 1990 may contain quarters that were never touched or circulated. These are your best chances for finding high-grade coins that might qualify for a premium grade. So to recap, the 1990D Washington quarter might seem like an ordinary coin, but under the right conditions, it can be worth thousands. One high-grade example sold for $28,388, and yours could be next. The key is condition, rarity, and grading. Keep your eyes open, and always check your change. The next great find could be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, and you learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We cover rare coins, valuable bills, and hidden treasures you can find in everyday money. Let me know in the comments, have you ever found a rare or valuable coin in your change? I'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting, and good luck out there. Today, we're diving into a quarter that may look ordinary, but in rare cases, it can be worth over $25,000. That's right, the 1993 Mint Mark Washington quarter. So stick around, because we'll cover everything from its historical background, design details, why some of these quarters are so valuable, how to spot the valuable versions, and what collectors are paying for them right now. Let's jump right in. The history behind the 1993 Washington quarter. To understand why a 1993 Washington quarter can be worth so much, we first need to understand its history and context. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 in honor of the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The original design was created by John Flanagan, and for decades, it remained largely unchanged. The obverse, or the front of the coin, features the iconic bust of George Washington, facing left. The reverse shows a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with two olive branches below it. This design continued until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now, let's fast forward to 1993. By this point, Washington quarters had been in circulation for over 60 years. In 1993 alone, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 639 million quarters with the P Mint mark. These were regular circulation coins, nothing rare about them at first glance. But as with many coins, the devil is in the details. Design features of the 1993 P quarter. So, what exactly should you be looking for? The 1993 P Washington quarter weighs 5.67 grams. It's made of a clad composition. That's copper in the core and a layer of nickel on the outside. It has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters with a reeded edge. Now let's talk about the mint mark. The P on the front of the coin, right next to Washington's ponytail, indicates that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Most 1993 P quarters are worth exactly 25 cents today. But there are exceptions, and this is where things get interesting. What makes a 1993 P quarter worth $25,288? So, how does a coin that was made in the hundreds of millions suddenly become worth more than a used car or even a down payment on a house? The answer is in the coin's condition, rarity, and errors. The most valuable 1993 P Washington quarter ever sold was graded by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, as MS68, which stands for Mint State 68. That is an extremely high grade. On the scale from 1 to 70, a 68 is nearly perfect. That coin was sold for an eye-watering $25, $288. Why so much? It all comes down to population and demand. Out of the 639 million 1993 P quarters minted, only a tiny handful have survived in pristine condition. Most coins enter circulation immediately. They get scratched, nicked, worn down, and tossed around. Very few remain in gem condition straight from the mint. So when a coin grading company confirms a coin is in mint state 68 or higher, collectors jump on it. It becomes a trophy coin, one of the finest known examples of its type. Key factors that affect the value of a 1993 P quarter. Let's break down exactly what determines the value of your quarter. Condition or grade. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. An uncirculated 1993 P quarter that's never been used in transactions and still has its original luster can be worth a few dollars. But a coin graded MS66, MS67, or better, those are where serious money comes in. MS68 is the jackpot. Strike quality. Some 1993 P quarters have particularly strong strikes. The details on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, the lettering, and the edges are sharp and well defined. These high-quality strikes are much more desirable to collectors. Mint errors. This is the exciting part. Mint errors can turn an ordinary coin into something truly valuable. Look out for things like off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned, double dies, where the image or letters appear double-clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing from the blank die, cracks or cuds, which are raised lines or blobs caused by damaged minting tools. If you have a 1993 P quarter with one of these rare errors, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if the error is dramatic and the coin is in great shape. Grading by a trusted company. To get top dollar, your coin must be professionally graded. Services like PCGS and NGC are the gold standard. Once graded and slabbed in a secure plastic holder, your coin will be easier to sell and more trusted by buyers. What are 1993 P quarters selling for today? Let's take a look at current market values. A typical 1993 P quarter in circulated condition is still worth 25 cents. An uncirculated example in mint state 60 to 63 can sell for $1 to $5. Higher grades like MS65 or MS66 can fetch $15 to $50. MS67 examples might go for $100 to $300 depending on demand. And as we mentioned earlier, an MS68 example sold for $25,288 at auction. Keep in mind that prices can change quickly based on collector demand, new discoveries, or shifts in the market. How to check your pocket change. So what should you do if you think you've got a valuable 1993 P quarter? First, examine it closely. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any unusual features like doubling, off-centering, or other mint errors. Second, compare it to images of high-grade coins online. Is the luster still there? Are there any visible scratches or wear? Third, consider sending it to a professional grading service if you believe it's in outstanding condition. And finally, never clean your coin. That can destroy its value instantly. Wrapping it up, you could be holding a fortune. So there you have it. The 1993 P Washington quarter may seem common, and most of them are. But in pristine condition or with a dramatic error, it can be worth thousands. In fact, one recently fetched a staggering $25,288 at auction. And the best part? That quarter might be hiding in your change jar, your glove compartment, or at the bottom of your couch. So get out your coins, start looking, and who knows, you might just uncover a piece of hidden treasure. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another episode on valuable coins and collectibles. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare quarter, or if you're going to start checking your change from now on. Until next time, happy collecting! Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable coins from the 1990s, the 1994 P Washington quarter dollar. That's right. A coin you might think is just pocket change could actually be worth thousands of dollars. And in some cases, One very specific 1994 quarter recently sold for an incredible $12,000 at auction. So, what makes this coin so special? What is the history behind it? And how can you tell if your 1994 P quarter is one of the valuable ones? Stick around because we're covering everything you need to know about this coin's history, features, and market value. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design featured a portrait of Washington on the obverse, or the front, and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse, or the back. This design stayed mostly the same all the way until the State Quarters program launched in 1999. The 1994 quarter falls into that classic Washington Eagle design era. Now, the 1994 Washington quarter was minted in 3 main locations. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint have a small letter P on the obverse, right next to Washington's ponytail. Denver minted coins show a D, and proof coins from San Francisco have an S, but our focus today is the 1994 P quarter. The one from the Philadelphia Mint. Now here's the thing. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 825 million Washington quarters in 1994. So the vast majority of them are extremely common. If you've got a 1994 P quarter in your change jar, chances are it's worth just 25 cents. However, and this is the exciting part, not all 1994 P quarters are the same. Certain examples of this coin are bringing in huge money from collectors, and one coin in particular sold for $12,000. Why? What makes this one worth so much? It all comes down to 3 key things: condition, rarity, and errors. Let's break that down. First up is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin known as mint state 70. Most quarters that have been circulated, meaning used in everyday transactions, are going to grade way lower than that. They'll have scratches, wear, dings, and more, but if a coin has been preserved in perfect or near perfect condition, it can attract big interest from collectors. The $12,000 1994 P quarter was graded MS67 by PCGS, one of the top coin grading services in the world. That's an incredibly high grade for a coin from this era. Second is rarity. Even though hundreds of millions were minted, coins that survive in MS67 condition are extremely rare. For the 1994 P quarter, only a small handful are known to exist in that grade. So even though the coin itself isn't rare in general, the condition makes it a standout. And finally, there's the chance of errors. Error coins are some of the most popular with collectors. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and more. While there are not many well-documented major errors for the 1994 P quarter, you should still keep an eye out. Anything unusual could mean your coin is worth far more than face value. So let's go over what to look for if you want to see if your 1994 P quarter is worth big money. First, flip it over and check the mint mark. Make sure it has the letter P, which stands for Philadelphia. Then check the condition. Is it shiny? Is it free from scratches and wear? If it looks like it's in incredible shape, it might be worth sending it in for grading. Next, look very closely at the coin's details, especially the date, the letters in Liberty, and the motto "I in God We Trust." Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Any doubling, misalignment, or odd marks could signal an error or variety. Also take a close look at the eagle on the reverse. Make sure all the feathers, wings, and details are clear and sharp. If your coin is uncirculated and in near perfect condition, or if it has a visible error, then it might be a candidate for grading by a professional company like PCGS or NGC. Now let's talk about the current market value. As of right now, regular 1994 P quarters that have been circulated are still only worth about face value, 25 cents. In uncirculated condition, maybe $1 or $2, but those extremely rare, high-grade examples, especially coins graded MS67 or higher, are selling for thousands. The most famous one brought in $12,000 at auction. It's considered a population rarity, meaning there are very few like it in the entire world. Even a coin graded MS66 can bring in hundreds of dollars, depending on the market and buyer demand. So if you've got a stack of quarters lying around, now is the time to check them. That little 1994 P quarter could be a treasure hiding in plain sight. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Have you checked your 1994 quarters yet? And if you want more videos about valuable coins, rare errors, and collectible currency, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. See you in the next one. Today's video, we're diving deep into a very special coin, the 1995 D Mint Mark Washington Quarter Dollar. You may have one lying around in your pocket or old coin jar, but did you know this coin could be worth up to $19,266 today? That's right, this humble 25-cent piece could turn into a life-changing payday. So grab your magnifying glass and stay with me, because we're uncovering the fascinating history, key features, and current market value of the 1995 D Washington Quarter. Let's get into it. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Originally designed by John Flanagan, the coin features a profile of Washington on the obverse side. Over the years, the quarter has gone through several design changes, but the original look remained until the State Quarters program began in 1999. Now fast forward to 1995. This was a year before the major coin design overhaul. It was also the year that one very specific version of the Washington Quarter started making headlines in the numismatic world, the 1995 D Quarter from the Denver Mint. The letter D on your quarter stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. In 1995, the Denver Mint produced over 1.1 billion Washington quarters. That's right, billion with a B. So with so many in circulation, why is this coin potentially worth over $19,000? Well, the answer lies in condition, rarity of high grades, and unique errors or varieties that make specific coins stand out to collectors. Now let's talk value. A regular, worn 1995 D Washington Quarter is worth just its face value, 25 cents. However, if your coin is in mint state condition, meaning it looks nearly brand new with no wear, it could fetch a much higher price. According to coin grading experts, a coin graded MS68, that's mint state 68 out of 70, is extremely rare. And guess what? One of these 1995 D quarters in MS68 condition sold for $19,266 at auction. That's a massive return on a coin that many people still think is only worth a quarter. Here's what makes a 1995 D quarter valuable. First, mint state grade. Look for sharp details, no scratches or wear, and original luster. Grading is done by professionals like PCGS or NGC, so if you think your coin is in top shape, it's worth getting it evaluated. Second, errors. Some valuable 1995 D quarters have double die errors, off-center strikes, or die cracks. These types of minting mistakes can make your coin a collector's dream. Third, full strike. Coins with a full, strong strike that show every detail of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse are considered premium. So, what's the market like right now? As of 2025, collectors are willing to pay a premium for top condition 1995 D quarters. The record-setting coin that sold for $19,266 was graded by PCGS and confirmed to be in nearly perfect MS68 condition. Coins in MS65 condition might sell for anywhere from $25 to $50, while those in MS66 or MS67 can bring in $100 to several $100s. Depending on demand and quality. If you've got a coin that's even close to that kind of condition, it's absolutely worth checking out. Take a close look at your 1995 D quarter. Under a good light or with a magnifier. Ask yourself, does it have full details? Is it free from scratches and dings? Does it shine like it just left the mint? Do you see any unusual features or errors? If so, you could be holding a small fortune in the palm of your hand. If your coin looks promising, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll grade the coin and encapsulate it in a protective holder with an official grade label. This adds credibility and increases its value if you decide to sell. Remember, a $19,000 coin doesn't look much different from a regular one. It's all about condition and rarity. The 1995 D Washington Quarter is a perfect reminder that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. While most of these coins are still only worth 25 cents, A rare few have shocked collectors and auction houses alike. So next time you're sorting through your change, don't overlook the humble quarter. You might just find the next $19,000 gem hiding in your coin jar. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting coin stories, values, and collecting tips. Drop a comment if you've got a 1995 D quarter or any other rare finds in your collection. We'd love to hear about it. Until next time, happy collecting. Hello and welcome back to the channel, where we explore the fascinating world of coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures you might have lying around your house. Today, we're diving deep into a very special coin, the 1998 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark. Believe it or not, some versions of this common-looking coin have sold for jaw-dropping prices, including one that fetched a staggering $23,276. Yes, you heard that right. Over $23,000 for a quarter. So how is that possible? Let's break it all down, step by step. First, let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, it became an instant classic. By 1998, this coin had been in circulation for over 65 years and was still widely used in everyday transactions. The 1998 quarter is part of the final year of the original Washington quarter design before the U.S. Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999. Now, let's talk about the P Mint mark. This small letter appears on the obverse side of the coin, right next to Washington's ponytail. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, where millions of these quarters were struck in 1998. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 896 million of them. So with such a high mintage, why would any 1998 P quarter be valuable? The answer lies in rare errors, unusual varieties, and exceptional coin conditions. Let's begin with errors. Some 1998 P quarters have unique minting errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die clashes. These kinds of mistakes are not supposed to happen. But when they do, and they slip past quality control, collectors go wild. These error coins are rare and extremely collectible. A double die obverse, for example, means some of the features on the front of the coin appear doubled, which can be spotted in areas like the word Liberty or In God We Trust. Another reason a 1998 P quarter could be worth a fortune is its mint state condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that earns a grade of MS 68 or higher is incredibly rare, especially for modern circulating coins. The coin that sold for $23,276 was certified by a professional grading service as being in near-perfect condition, possibly MS 68 or better. That's what made it so desirable. It wasn't just rare, it was pristine. So what should you look for in your pocket change or coin collection? Start by checking the date and mint mark. Look for that small P on the front of the coin. Then, examine the coin closely under good lighting. Are there any doubling effects in the lettering? Is the coin slightly off-center? Are there strange lines or markings that don't seem to belong? Next, check the condition. Is the coin clean, with no scratches or dings? Has it been well preserved, maybe even never circulated? If so, you might be holding on to something very special. Now, let's talk about current market value. While most 1998 P quarters are still only worth 25 cents, coins in top condition, especially those with rare errors or certified high grades, can sell from hundreds to thousands of dollars. As mentioned earlier, one such quarter sold for a whopping $23,276, making it one of the most valuable 1998 P quarters known today. Collectors and investors alike are always on the lookout for these rare finds, and the coin market has been booming in recent years. With more people turning to collectibles as a form of investment, the value of rare coins like this continues to rise. So, if you've got some old change sitting around, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look. That humble quarter could be a hidden gem. Before we wrap up, here's a quick summary of what to look for in a valuable 1998 P Washington quarter. Look for a strong strike and clean surfaces with no damage. Check for rare errors like double dies or off-center strikes. Get your coin graded by a professional service. If it looks promising, watch the market for price trends and recent sales. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more coin collecting tips and discoveries. You never know, the next video could help you uncover a fortune in your pocket change. Until next time, keep hunting, stay curious, and happy collecting. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising modern coins that has taken the collecting world by storm, the 2021 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. That's right, a coin that most people might overlook in their pocket change is now worth a staggering $17,288 in the collector's market. You don't want to miss this story. We're going to talk about its history, what makes it valuable, and how you might be able to spot one yourself. Let's get started. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932. It was originally introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Since then, it's undergone a number of design changes, from the classic eagle reverse to the State Quarters program, the America the Beautiful series, and most recently, the Washington crossing the Delaware design in 2021. Now, the 2021 quarter is significant for a few reasons. It marked the end of the America the Beautiful series, and it also introduced a temporary design showing General George Washington leading his troops across the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War, an iconic moment in American history. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark, struck millions of these coins. So, you might be wondering, how could a coin that's so common end up being worth over $17,000? What makes the 2021 P quarter valuable? Let's break it down. Most 2021 P quarters are worth face value. You can find them in everyday change. But among those millions of coins, a few rare and unique examples stand out, and that's where the value comes in. There are a few key factors that determine the value of a coin like this. Number 1 is condition. The most valuable example of the 2021 P Washington quarter was graded MS68+ by a top-tier grading company. That means it's nearly perfect, with virtually no marks or imperfections even under magnification. Out of the millions produced, only a handful might ever reach this grade. Number 2 is rarity of high grade. While the coin itself isn't rare in circulation, finding one in pristine, untouched condition is incredibly rare. Most coins get scratched, dinged, or worn as they pass through hands and machines. So when a flawless coin surfaces, collectors go wild for it. And number 3 is demand. Modern coin collectors are increasingly looking for top-grade coins with historical or artistic significance. The Washington crossing the Delaware design only appeared for 1 year, making it a unique transitional coin between series. That adds to its appeal. So, a collector paid an incredible $17,288 for a single 2021 P Washington quarter in one of the highest possible grades ever recorded. That's how this modern quarter went from pocket change to a high-value treasure. You might be wondering, how can I find one of these quarters? First, check the obverse, or the front of the coin. You'll see the classic George Washington portrait that's been on the quarter for decades. Look just under the phrase "In God We Trust," to the right of Washington's ponytail. That's where you'll find the P Mint mark, indicating it was made in Philadelphia. Next, flip the coin over to the reverse, or back side. If it shows Washington crossing the icy Delaware River, then you've got the right design. Now comes the important part, the condition. You want a coin that looks brand new, with no scratches, wear, or spots. If it looks shiny, sharp, and perfect, don't spend it. Set it aside, and consider getting it graded by a reputable coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. A small investment in grading could unlock huge value if your coin turns out to be in the top percentile. Also, look for any minting errors, things like off-center strikes, die cracks, doubling, or missing elements. These kinds of mistakes can skyrocket the value of modern coins as well. So what's the current market value of the 2021 P Washington quarter? As of today, The highest known sale of this coin hit a jaw-dropping $17,288 at auction for a near-perfect graded specimen. Other high-grade examples, say, in MS67 or MS67 Plus, can also sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their eye appeal and grading. Meanwhile, average uncirculated examples may fetch a few dollars, and circulated ones are generally worth face value, unless they have unique errors or exceptional condition. But here's the catch. The demand for top-grade modern coins is growing fast. With more people entering the hobby and searching for hidden gems and pocket change, prices could climb even higher in the coming years. If you have a 2021 P quarter sitting in your change jar, take a closer look. You just might be holding a small fortune without realizing it. So there you have it. The incredible story of the 2021 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. A modern-day treasure that shocked collectors by reaching a value of over $17,000. From its historic design to the rarity of high-grade examples, this coin is proof that valuable finds are still out there in everyday change. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss a new coin story or value update. And don't forget, check your pocket change. The next valuable coin could be right in your hand. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Welcome back to the channel, where rare coins turn into real treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the world of numismatics to uncover 29 of the most valuable Washington quarters and Lincoln wheat pennies that have ever been discovered. Some of these coins are worth thousands, others millions. And believe it or not, they might just be hiding in your pocket change, old piggy banks, or a forgotten jar on your grandfather's shelf. So make sure to watch until the very end, because the number one coin on our list will absolutely blow your mind. Let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1776 to 1976 No Mint Mark Washington quarter, a coin that many people overlook, yet collectors are going wild for. With its patriotic design, unique historical roots, and staggering market value, this coin is not just change, it's treasure. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and let's explore the untold story behind one of the most misunderstood and valuable coins in American history. Let's start with the basics. The 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter was minted to commemorate one of the most important milestones in American history, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In 1976, the United States Mint released a special series of coins, including the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, to mark the nation's bicentennial. These coins were unique because they bore dual dates, 1776 to 1976, a rare feature in U.S. coinage. But what made the quarter especially iconic was its distinct reverse design. Instead of the traditional eagle, the bicentennial quarter featured a colonial drummer, designed by Jack L. H.R. The drummer, with a torch of victory behind him, symbolized the American fight for freedom and the revolutionary spirit of the country. The obverse, or front of the coin, still featured George Washington's familiar profile, a consistent element since 1932. But this was more than a facelift. It was a celebration of heritage, democracy, and freedom. What makes the 1776 to 1976 quarter so special? Now, here's the twist. Millions of these quarters were minted. So why is the no mint mark version suddenly causing such a stir in the collecting world? Most quarters from 1976 were produced at either the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco mints. The ones from Denver have a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. But the Philadelphia Mint, true to its practice at the time, produced quarters with no mint mark at all. While that in itself isn't unusual, what makes this particular no mint mark quarter worth thousands of dollars is a combination of factors: rarity, condition, striking errors, and the increasing demand from numismatists and investors. Only a small number of quarters from Philadelphia were struck with exceptional die quality, leading to what collectors call deep cameo or proof-like finishes. Despite being business strikes, these ultra-rare coins are now highly sought after in pristine condition. And then there are the errors: double strikes, off-center images, planchet issues, all of which add massive premiums to the value of the coin. To understand the significance of this quarter, we need to consider the time it was minted. The 1970s were a period of transition in America. The Vietnam War had just ended, and the country was celebrating its bicentennial with parades, fireworks, and yes, special coins. The bicentennial quarter became a symbol of unity, a way for Americans to carry a piece of history in their pockets. It wasn't just currency, it was a keepsake, a reminder of how far the country had come. Because of that, many people held on to these quarters as souvenirs. But few realized that some of them would go on to become extraordinarily rare, especially those in mint-state condition with no mint mark. Now let's talk dollars. You've probably heard stories of coins